Friends, fans, and fine folk, grab your drinks and snacks and come on down to the campfire for this short rest with me and my friend Dingo Doodles. Hello, how you doing, Dingo?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
It's so good to have you on. It's been a while since we got a chance to catch up, so I'm very excited to talk. When was
Yeah.
it? I think the last time we saw each other would have been Gen Con
What?
2024.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think the last time we you and I sat down and actually talked was
yeah,
that time. So
yeah. Wow.
yeah, it's been a bit.
I would have I'd love to get to Gen Con again sometime. So hopefully things start settling down into a period of normalcy a bit. Maybe we can actually get together at a convention. In fact, I'll be going to some Canadian conventions this year, so hopefully I'll see you there.
Okay,
Eric's just
yeah.
raided in. Hi, Eric. Welcome in. Good timing. We're just starting. Yeah, I'm going to the Toronto Fan Expo con this year in August. So
Okay.
I don't know if you'll be going there, but if you are, maybe that'll be a good chance for us to actually catch up again in person.
Yeah, I haven't been to Toronto one, but I know that's high on the list for I know a lot of fans are just please come to Toronto. So it's yeah, maybe if it works out, then it'll work out. But right now, if we're actually maybe thinking about going to Gen Con, but there's a lot of stuff obviously going on with the US, but
Mm-hmm.
also it's just really expensive. Like
Mm.
if you look at accommodations, we were hoping to get
Yeah,
cose, and it's
yeah,
like $1,000 a night or something
no,
crazy like that, and it's
yeah.
I can't afford that. Who can afford that?
Yeah, Gen
So
Con's ridiculously expensive. They put all of the accommodation in the entire city just on hold for a bit, and then they start
yeah,
releasing them as like a raffle for people who have bought Gen Con tickets. And it's
yeah,
pretty nuts.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so, so for anyone who's tuning in and doesn't know who you are, why not start with a brief introduction, a brief
Yeah,
explanation?
sure. So hi, I'm Dingo. I am the creator of the Dingo Doodles YouTube channel, which is a channel that's based off of me animating a Dungeons and Dragons story that I played back in 2016 to 2018, and it's been episodically told. Uh, and it's about a lot of chaos with a crazy monkey, magical girl, druid with a mask, bunch of weird, crazy stuff. And then from there on, um, it has developed into a module and a graphic novel called Fool's Gold, um, Death by Karaoke, there's The Bellowing Wilds. You just look up Fool's Gold D&D and you'll find it. But
You'll find it
yeah,
there.
essentially, yeah, it'll
It's
be somewhere.
it's one of those things where you start it off thinking it's just gonna be something like a one and done throwaway. Here's a funny
Yeah.
story of some one thing that happened in this campaign that we ran, and then it obviously goes well enough that you decide to put like a part two out that's a little more context around things, and then part three comes out, and then people are clamoring for more, and you end up going, okay, well now I've started in the middle of a campaign about something with no context, so now I need to give you context about who these characters are if I'm going to tell, and you end up telling this story of this campaign, and it's funny how often it happens, especially with D&D stuff, because I found the same with the first season of the Adventure Zone, where people
Oh yeah.
start off with just like telling a funny joke, comedic elements, and then people getting so invested in it that it becomes this huge, deep, dramatic, heartfelt, emotionally draining this story of these. You connect. I did a D&D logic sketch with the Viva guys about when people make jokey characters not expecting anything to come from it, and it was like, I'm Poop McDinglefart, and then we cut forwards like 40 sessions, and suddenly there's a guy like hanging off of a cliff in a volcano. You've got to let me go! No, McDinglefart, you're my best friend. I can't bear to lose you. Because it just happens so often in D&D, and I love it. That like, oh, here's a funny story. Oh, you want more? Cool. Well, let me tear your heart out and bleed it in
Yeah,
front of you.
yeah, it's essentially what happened. It was one of those things where, I did do the video. It's about how we released a Trask by singing terrible karaoke. It just happens in our campaigns, apparently. And then it. after I released it, yeah, it went viral, but um, people were like, "What about more?" And I said, "Well, okay, I'll just try." And then I just kept going. I was just like, "Well, I guess I'll just keep talking," because I really wanted to talk about it. And there was a lot of times when I was like, "Should I just stop here?" You know,
Mm.
like I know around episode 6 or so, which was after the first arc that I kind of did, I was like, maybe I should just move on to something else. But it's like, but I wanted to keep talking about it,
Yeah.
and nobody told me to stop talking about it. So I just was like, all right, screw it, just keep going. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
that's it.
escalate it.
The curse of being a D&D player. You're always wanting to be like, I need someone else to discuss this with.
Yeah,
And then you go, oh, people on YouTube want to hear it. I'll keep going then.
yeah.
So since we're setting up a short rest, we must be on a mission from something. So have we got any mission that we are short resting on? So help me to DM this scene, as it were. What are we doing when we're short resting? Are we short resting around a campfire or in a tavern, or where are we? What are we up to?
Yeah. Uh, I mean, if we're short resting, I'd probably be fishing.
Oh yeah,
So
nice.
maybe by a river on a dock. So
Yeah,
maybe we're just like sitting and chilling and trying to get some fish so that we don't have to go and buy the expensive food in the inn
yeah.
and
So
do
so
it
we're
zero.
in a real we're on a quest, like an overland quest, and found ourselves in a ridiculously expensive town that's
Yeah.
full of, maybe it's a sort of a retirement village of sorts where all the wealthy people have a second home. And so
Yeah.
we ended up going through that, and then we're like, oh, how much for? Oh, we've got a tent. We've got a tent and a fishing rod. We can handle ourselves, and we're just
Yeah.
fishing by the dock. What's the mission that we're on?
The mission, let's see. Would it be, I guess, um, to try to find an affordable place to live because obviously we can't find it here.
so we
So
left. So we left our previous town because that was too expensive, and we've been traveling around the world. It's just an adventure which is entirely necessitated by a cost of living crisis.
it feels a bit too close to home. But
It's fine. It's fine. Some of my short rests have started with me going like, "Oh, what's the mission?" And they're going, "Oh, we're moving house," because that's what they're up to in real life. I'm like, "Cool, that's the mission." So we're
yeah,
sitting in an expensive retirement village full of old wealthy people, and we're trying to make the most of it by fishing up our own food. Sounds good.
yeah,
When
and
you're
camping out and avoiding getting taxed for it. So.
when you're playing in a game in D&D, do you have do you enjoy spend like role playing the downtime activities and talking about exactly what your character would be eating and drinking and things in taverns, or do you tend to like to just hand wave it, go, yeah, we long rest and skip to the morning?
No, we tend to always role play it out. Like
Mm-hmm.
all of our sessions, we typically because it's like the best time for characters to sit down and explain or talk about things or give little hints about their
Yeah.
backstory. You know, nuggets or planting seeds for conversations for later. So that's the thing where sometimes I've been in campaigns where the DM just says, "Well, you guys short rest," and then you move on. I'm like, no,
Mm.
hold on.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Give me a
we
second
want, we
here.
want to, yeah, I want to actually figure out who these characters are. I
Yeah.
want to know what I'm dealing with, and that's where I find you can get some really good world building sometimes and
Mm-hmm.
character
Yeah.
building. So, yeah, I
I,
don't know what
I
your preference is.
No, I am on the same page because I love that you also said that it's like dropping seeds and nuggets from characters and not just like straight up exposition. Because I think one of the big differences I find in a lot of the players that I end up playing with, especially if they've got, especially a difference between people who have more of an experience telling stories, maybe they're actors or writers or other D&D content creators, versus people who don't have as much experience with that, is that if I have dropped something before the rest, like in the middle of a battle, that, oh, you noticed a little something, a little indication on this guy's face that he maybe recognized some more than he's letting on or whatever. A writer, an actor, a storyteller will take that on and go, oh, this is something that is going to be the start of something that we can
Yeah,
explore gradually over time, and then someone with less experience will go, I'll just straight. Rob told me this thing, so I'll just straight up address it immediately. it's like, oh, that's not really how things work in life and stories. That you notice the subtlest of instances, and it's your first hint that this guy might know more than he's letting on, and suddenly you're all over it. Like, okay, you can give it a time to you can bring it up once in this rest, and then you can bring it up again later, maybe, and have a more gradual burn. But yeah,
See if it naturally comes up.
exactly, yeah. But I do love the role play that can happen around a campfire. I've got plenty of I've got plenty of groups where during the course of a game we've basically just run it in actual time, where over the course of a 4-hour game, about 4 hours is actually passed in game because they're just talking around a campfire for the most of the session, and there's no combat at all, and they just love it. So why don't we start with talking about a bit of your background? Like, where did you get into TTRPGs in the first place? What were you doing? Were you always a nerdy kid? Did you enjoy this stuff, or did you discover it later in life?
Yeah, it's so I guess just like most kids, we're all kind of nerdy. We all got our little things we love, and Pokemon, and you grew up in the
Mm-hmm.
90s, so you have like Digimon and Megabots. But the thing about it was that I actually didn't tackle like D&D TRPGs until I was in high school. So I think grade 11, so, you know, 17 or so. And it
Mm-hmm.
was funny because my friend, one of my best friends, he kept telling me, being like, we gotta play Dungeons and Dragons. We gotta do it. And I was just like, I don't want it. Because I just don't like. I think I'm not huge on board games. It's sad, but it's true.
Interesting.
I'm just not. I love video games more. I love to play like Mario Kart and Mario Party and all that stuff with my friends, and we would go out and do bowling. But
Yeah.
it's because I'm very bad at rules. I just don't pay attention.
Right.
I'm a person that kind of makes up their own rules, and I'm like, that's the way I go. Like, I've kind of shotgunned myself through life. Which is not the I don't recommend it, but with board games and TTRPGs, there's rules. There's a rule set, and you have to
Mm.
follow them. And I'm always been anti-rule. And when D&D came to the table, and we're like, all right, let's try. First of all, we start with 3.5 because that was the only version that was out at the time for us.
Mm.
Oh wait, no, I think four had just come out.
Mm.
But my friend was like, well, I only have the books for 3.5. So I guess we're doing 3.5. And it was like 5 hours of us making a character because none of us had ever done it before. So it was us just sitting around.
It
And we only had one set of
it's
dice.
very funny that you were like, oh, I'm not a fan of rules, so we'll start with 3.5 D&D.
Yeah, I know. And of course, I don't know this stuff. And it's like, so I'm like sitting with all, because I had all guy friends. So I'm like sitting there, and they're all just like going through stats and stuff. I'm like so bored. And I was just there like, this isn't fun. I thought this would be fun.
You want to play
I'm not
D&D?
having
Yeah,
fun.
here's 5 hours of us creating a character.
Especially 3.5.
Oh god,
And
kids are idiots.
I had no reference to any sort of like system like this. Like at most I played Monopoly, so I had no idea about like stats. And I think the closest thing that would have been is Morrowind, playing Morrowind and Oblivion and stuff. But
Right, yeah.
it was that thing where it was just so foreign to me. It was frustrating. And then, of course, our very first session. So yeah, first of all, 5 hours of making character, and we didn't even play because we were done. We were just like, I'm done. And then the next time we played, and that was a disaster. We all got beaten up by one goblin, and we got captured by one goblin. And the DM, who's my friend, he's just losing his mind. He's like, it's one goblin! And it was like, we just kept rolling so terribly. And I had no idea about spell slots. And I was a cleric. So they were like, can you heal me? And I was like, yeah, sure. And I was just giving out spells left, right, and center and being like, I don't know. Like, I don't even know where the spell is in the book.
Yeah.
It was a disaster. So I hated D&D for 4 years straight. I hated it. And the only reason I played it was because my friends were just like, you gotta come and hang out. And I'm like, I guess I'm gonna go and hang out with D&D. And I kind of I mean, I had a 3.5 sheet, so everything's just so confusing if you really don't know what the hell you're looking at.
Yeah, I
And
bet.
then my friends would be like, "Oh, I'll help you level up and everything," and I have just no clue. It's just like math to me. I mean, I became an artist because I can't do academics. I can't. My brain doesn't work like that. So anyway, it was just, yeah, it was a disaster for a while. We played for about a year and a half until we graduated, and then I moved. I went to college. I found another D&D group there, and then we just kind of hung out. We had to keep jumping from
So
different
you
place to
so,
place to
so
place
you hated it and you weren't having a good time, and then you moved and found a different D&D group. Were you hooked
because
at
they were
this
my
point, or
friends.
are they
Yeah, because they were
still?
my friends, and
It
then
was
I
another
got into the
situation
art
of a different
college.
group of friends going, "Hey, you need to play D&D with us,"
Yeah,
and
I
you'd
was
be
like,
like, "Why
God
are my
damn
friends
it! Like,
fucking D&D nerds?"
I don't want to play. Can we do anything else, please? And then it was just, okay, fine, we'll play D&D. And then, yeah, we had to jump from place to place to try to play because nobody had a big enough place. God, we had the largest group I've ever been in. It was like, in total, there was 12 of us. Yeah, and one
What
DM.
the fuck?
Yeah,
Not all at the same time, surely.
yeah, no,
How?
yeah.
What the fuck? That's not D. That's not D&D. I don't even know what that is. There's like
It was terrible. It
even
was
even
terrible.
even games, even like board games that are designed for like party games are unwieldy when you get like to 12. 12 is like too many for any game.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was like I felt so bad for my friend John, who he plays Gorthan in the
Right,
Full
right, right.
Scale
Yeah.
campaign, and he was DMing it, and you just see like the pure agony on his face as he's trying to go around the table. And like one round of combat is an hour. Because
Yeah,
it's
that's
like, because
horrible.
everybody's like, oh, I got my spells. I'm gonna look at this thing. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm not. And then
Jesus.
it was terrible. It was we
You've
didn't have
got to have different rules. You've got to have like homebrewed rules if you're playing with that. You've got to be like, okay, instead of an action, bonus action, reaction, whatever, everybody gets one thing they can do. If you don't have it ready when your turn comes,
move
I'm
on.
giving you 10 seconds because yes,
Yeah,
you might have an idea and then the person before you does something that screws it up. So I'll give you a little leeway if that's happening. You got 10 seconds to decide what you're gonna do. But you have to do the thing. You do what we encompass it with like one roll, and then we move on to the next person. You just can't, man.
exactly. Especially 3.5 because it's so
Yeah.
complicated. So it was a disaster, and of course it gave me more rage towards the game. So it was just like
I love that your origin story into D&D is I had a horrible time and I hated it. I had another time when I hated it even more. Where did
I
you? Are
did.
you just a masochist? Just sucker for punishment?
I wanted to hang out. It was literally that. So I would just like I would doodle the entire time. I would draw
Right.
scenes from what was happening. Like I remember I drew doodles of like my thief. She got her hands broken, so I just drew her with like broken fingers, being like, "Why?" Like that kind of stuff. I would just draw like memes throughout the entire
Yeah.
sessions, and I would just throw give them to people throughout the
I
entire
like
session
I
because
like
I
to
was
think
like
that you
bored.
didn't actually have any artistic talent when you started playing D&D. just just out of
I built it.
necessity, you just had the time between turns and
I had
combat
to
to
do
just
it.
force yourself into art.
Yeah. So yeah, I that's why I think it's when people are just like, "Oh, D&D's not really for me." It's like, "Hey, man, it was not for me. I can tell you that. I hated it."
When the hell
But
did that switch then?
we
What turned?
yeah. So what actually switched was so yeah about 4 years I played, and then I had moved from province to another province, and Felix and I, my husband, he he was DMing when I wasn't there. Did like a long distance for like a year, and he did it with our friends John and Puddles, Julian Gorthan in the Fool's Gold campaign, and he was just learning how to DM, and it was like okay, going through the paces. And then when I came back, I joined their group because he's like, I'm getting better at it, like we should try. And of course, I'm just like, okay, sure, I'll try, whatever. Because at least it was a
Was
small group.
Felix? So you were together with Felix before Felix started playing D&D, or was it the other way
Oh
around?
yeah,
Did you meet
uh,
through
no,
D&D?
yeah, So we got together in grade 12. So we played in grade
Right.
11, and then we got together in grade 12. So I actually knew Felix since grade 8.
Okay.
So
Right.
him and I had known each other for a while, and then we got together eventually. High school
So
sweethearts.
yeah, I was gonna say
So
high school sweethearts. That's very cute.
yeah, we're the
Are you
only
used to?
ones in our high school that survived.
Are you? Are
Everybody
you
else did not
used to
stick.
calling him husband yet?
It's yeah, it's tough sometimes when I have to like not prepare myself, but it's like you have to remind yourself to say it because it's like husband because it used to
Yeah,
be boyfriend for
for the
fucking
longest
ever.
time. Yeah.
So yeah, we've been together. We're coming up to our 14th anniversary on the 29th this month.
Nice.
So
That's
yeah,
significant.
it's a very long time. But anyway, so yeah,
So
he
was
was
Felix
DMing.
part of the grade 11 introduction to D&D group?
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
yeah.
right. So
He
you've never
also played.
played D&D without Felix?
Yes, he's always been with me in every single group. I don't think I've. Yeah, now that I think about it, I don't think I've ever played
But he
D&D
wasn't
really
the
without him.
DM for those first ones. So you
No.
say when you went away and he was like, okay, I'll step up to try DMing and try my hand at it.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
and that John, the previous DM with in college,
Yeah.
he taught Felix how to DM, and
Right.
then he was just like, "All right, I'm gonna learn." And then through time, yeah, he started to do that stuff, and then I came back. It was a smaller group, obviously, than the 12, so it was a faster pace. I was starting to kind of get a grasp on it,
Mm-hmm.
but the big thing that changed for me was two things. One, the adventure zone.
Oh yeah.
Big difference. Because that was when the adventure zone was like just starting to come out. I think they had like episode 50 out by that point. I'd started to hear about it through
Mm.
my friend Avery. She was like, "You should check this out." And then we started to listen to it and be like, "I didn't know you could do that with D&D. I didn't know you could like tell a story."
Right.
Like, what? Because it was just like D&D for us just felt more like just combat and silly
Yes.
jokes and
Right.
stupid things happening instead of just being like there's a plot and you gotta like if you don't follow certain things you could die and you actually get
Mm-hmm.
attached to your character. Like I had never really thought about that, and I was like, okay, that's different. So I actually decided to DM,
Oh, nice.
but I DM'd one-on-one with Felix, so it was just him and
Right.
and I did a whole campaign with him.
Wow.
And that's where I decided I'm going to try to tell a story because I had always wanted to tell stories
Mm-hmm.
just with art and writing stuff. So I was just like, I've never actually told a story from front to back to somebody else before.
Mm, right.
So this was my first attempt at being like, okay, I'm going to tell a story. And it was very nerve wracking, but I did it from start to end. And he also, with watching me do this, was like, "You can do that?" And I was like, "Yeah, right? That's wild, right?" And then he was like, "Well, I want to start implementing that into my games."
Amazing.
And that was around the time the Tarask incident happened.
Right.
So as soon as the Trask incident happened, which was my character's arc
Yeah.
area, like where he met like his big bad and
Yeah.
everything, he's like Felix started to implement those story elements into the campaign, and we actually started to be like, I actually feel for this character. I feel for these moments, and I
Mm-hmm.
actually really hate this person or really love this
Mm-hmm.
person or so it was changing our chemical makeup in our brain of being like you can implement stories
Yeah.
into D&D and live with those stories. um, so that was the big change for us, and with me DMing I understood the rules better, because I had to DM it, so I had to be like, oh, this is really just trying to figure out where a role fits. That was my big element of being like, you can do anything you want. I just have to figure out what do you need to roll for it.
Yes.
That was my big thing of understanding because it just with 3.5 it feels like too many rules, too much stuff, but the
Mm-hmm.
reality is if you really boil it down, it's just about finding out where that rule goes,
Mm-hmm.
with any sort of element in the story and that you
Yeah.
want to tell. So yeah, that was our big light bulb moment, and I didn't hate D&D as much
How
anymore.
long did how long did the campaign with just you and Felix go?
I think it went for about a year and a half.
Wow,
So
decent. Like every week or what?
yeah, sometimes I'd take breaks depending on if I'd get too nervous. I'd be like, no, I can't do this. This is too much. But yeah, it was eventually I think we would play every weekend or so, like on a Saturday or
Nice.
Sunday. And then depending on how it went, sometimes I'd do it back to back.
Yeah.
But if anybody doesn't know how to play D&D, I highly suggest doing one-on-ones with somebody you really
Mm.
trust, because it really helps you both learn, and you can make mistakes without like an audience. It's just kind of the
Yeah.
one person that goes like, well, actually, or they're learning with you. Like
Yeah.
it's a much more gentler. So I really
How
enjoyed it.
easier to schedule as well when life gets in the way with big groups, even just like 3 or 4 players. Sometimes it's really difficult to schedule everybody in, but like if you've just got the two of you, then much easier to find a time that both of you are free. What were the challenges for you then, balance wise, to like, because with D&D it's designed for a party, and so if somebody gets hit with like paralysis or being stunned or they're unconscious or they're put to sleep by magic, the rest of the team are still awake to continue the fight, maybe wake them up with something. If you're doing a one-on-one, any of those things can be immediately a TPK because a bad guy puts you to sleep, they just walk over and coup de grace you. So how do you balance that? Did you have DM NPCs along the way, or did you?
I did. I had a bunch of different ones that would come in and out of the story, that would kind of help balance between the areas. So I'd be like, oh, this area has a lot more. Like you got to deal with magic, so maybe I'll bring in a magic user or something like that.
Right.
And it was interesting. So I'm not going to give you the whole plot because it was a lot, but
Hmm.
the main thing about the NPC that I
Save that.
used
Save that
is
for
that
another animated series after Full Skull.
yeah, exactly. The main thing about the my whole entire plot is that there was like one NPC that kept jumping from body to body.
Right.
So it was funny because I kept giving him different NPCs, but it was the same person
Right.
that was following him through the whole thing. So it was funny where he kept, after the reveal of it, he was like, "Yeah, I kept feeling like your NPCs were the same throughout," and I'm like, "That's the
he's just
same
he's just
person."
he's just politely been like, man, Dingo's not very good at differentiating NPCs.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm like, haha, it's actually the
Little
same
do you know.
person. And he actually, that reveal, he says was the best because he actually like stopped and he had to sit there for like 5 minutes. Because I
Love
actually
that.
had to be like, are you okay? You want a moment? And he's like, yeah, I need time. So he just
I'm
has those
reevaluating
moments.
everything that I've ever said to any of these NPCs and the ways that I've
Yeah,
badmouthed one to another.
yeah, or something like that. But it's interesting where so the balancing of it all is, yes, you can you bring in the NPCs, they help you and stuff like that. Items that can help too. But one other thing was that if they do get knocked out, if something does happen, I bring it in as a plot. So like
Hmm.
they get knocked out and maybe there's a dream,
Mhm.
or there's something that happens with their body that
Mhm.
is like unusual, or like I use it as a tool more than like a hindrance. I definitely had some times where, yeah, he just like knocked out, and I was like, okay, well, we're just gonna have to work through this, and then it can be plot for
Mhm.
that reason. Because
Yeah, there's so many
with
so
a
many times when it's just like, oh, the bad guy knocks you out. Well, the bad guy takes you hostage instead of killing you. Then, or the bad guy makes a demand on you, or now you owe him a favor, or he's dismembered, he's taken one of your fingers, or whatever. Or,
yeah, or
you
he's
can continue
brain
the story.
controlled you.
He's
It's
yeah,
just like
exactly.
now
There's all sorts of
you're
things you can
on
go
his
keep.
side.
Or even if he
So
did kill you, it's like cool. Afterlife exists in D&D. Now you're in the afterlife. Your
exactly.
soul has to find a way back. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There's lots of plot points you can do if those things happen, and with a one-on-one, you both do understand that it's like you can die, And if you want to do a new character, it's fine. But really, this is about telling a story with you. Like, you understand that there's a bit of plot armor through it.
Yeah.
It's about the thing. There is consequences. It's just about how bad do you want those consequences, depending on the situation. So, yeah, it was a very interesting experience. Though DMing, I did realize that I like playing as a player way more. Like, I
Right.
like DMing to a degree, but I think I get too much in my head. I love world building.
Mm.
It's one of my favorite things. Like, I
Yeah.
love figuring out how mechanics work in a world, being like,
Right.
if this happens and this happens and that happens, so if you do this, then that can happen. Like, I love that shit.
Yeah.
Um, but the thing is that I think I just get too nervous with DMing, and the thing I love about playing D&D is exploring a character's psychology.
Right.
And as a DM, I don't feel like I could do that as much because
Yeah.
I'm moving from
You've got
person
so
to person.
many of them. Yeah.
So, I know the last campaign I tried to do with Felix and Avery, um, I did have to stop it eventually. Like, I think we played for about a year, maybe a year and a half,
Still
till eventually I was
significant.
like,
It's not
yeah,
like you gave
yeah.
up quickly. That's a long time.
I tried. Yeah, we went for a while, but it was eventually I was like, I just can't. I'm just not getting any enjoyment out of it as much as I wanted, because I have to pretty much make my own PC just to get myself engaged in the world
Yeah.
because
Right.
of the
Gotcha.
psychology behind that character. So, which is why I love playing D&D in general. So,
Yeah. No,
um,
I love that you found
yeah.
that though, and I love that you've given it a go. I've always said that some people are just better suited to be DMs, and some people are better suited to be players. I'm on the side of things where I love to play, but I'm made for DMing. Like, it's my destiny. It's what everything in my life has pointed me towards. When I discovered D&D, it was like I almost instantly realized a massive piece had fallen into place. That for a while, D&D was kind of scratching the acting itch, because I discovered D&D around the same time that I discovered like that I wasn't having fun pursuing acting as a career anymore, and I wanted to go back to academia to study some sort of real job. And then I discovered D&D, and I was like, oh, this is actually, I'm not missing acting as much because I'm able to tell stories through D&D. And then after a while of doing it, I realized it was the other way around. Of like, all of the things that I liked about acting was because it was scratching this itch for D&D that I didn't know existed yet. And my analytical brain for maths and figures and mechanics and rule balance and all of this worked together with my love of storytelling and character arcs and understanding structure of story and what makes for dramatic endings and cliffhangers, and everything just came together to be like, oh, you were meant for this. And I'm so glad that I finally found it, because it's just ever since I've felt like this is what I'm meant to be doing. So yeah, I love to play, but I much prefer DMing, and I love hearing when players, especially players who eventually make the call of I much prefer to play. I love it when they have at least given DMing a go, because I think there's so much to DMing that players who have never done it don't understand, and you get
Yeah.
so much more of a deeper understanding and respect for your game master when you have at least tried it yourself and gone, wow, there's a lot to preparing a thing, and there's a lot to in the moment running a thing, and there's a lot more improvisation needed than I would have ever expected in all of this.
Yeah, and that you learn how to follow breadcrumbs,
Mm-hmm.
because you as a DM realize you're setting up these breadcrumbs and you just hope they follow it. But if you're a player and you've DM'd, okay, I can see where you're going,
Mm-hmm.
I'll follow. Instead of resisting like some players do, where it's like, yeah, it's okay to resist certain things, but it's like, the DM has something tasty for you. Go
Mm-hmm.
follow the breadcrumbs
Yeah.
so you can go and see what it's all about. It's about like respecting that you're both telling a story at the same time.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Have you seen the Good Place? Did you ever watch that?
I saw pieces of it.
Pieces of it.
Um,
For
yeah.
those who have seen it, and there's a part in it where basically they're talking to an angel slash demon, and the four human souls, they piece something together that he was clearly trying to give them like a coded message, because he couldn't outright say it, and it all goes according to plan, and they manage to trick all these other people who are looking for them, and the humans are like, "Yeah, we managed to find all of your clues and follow you," and the demon goes, "Well, I left you 10,000 and you found 4 of them, but I'm glad you found the ones that mattered." And I love that scene because it's so accurately emulates what it feels like to be a DM sometimes when the players finally do something and they're like, "Yay, we're D&Ding, we followed the clues. I feel really proud of picking up on all of the game's clues." And it's like, you picked up on enough to have pieced it together what I was giving you, but I've been dropping clues about this for fucking years.
Yeah. That's the thing. So yeah, it's understanding that side of D&D and storytelling. So yeah.
So you started around grade started around grade 11 with the whole D&D thing. You did your next, the big 12 person party was recently after that?
College.
That was in college.
Yeah, so that was like right after. That was the year after.
How long till you actually got to a point where you were like, this is actually pretty fun? What timeline was?
Yeah, okay, so then...
Was it before the Fool's Gold campaign?
No.
Or was it the Fool's Gold when you started actually enjoying it?
Fool's Gold. Yeah, I think Fool's Gold was when I think it was the Kinora arc. I think it was with the Trask and all that. That's when I was starting to really be like, ooh, I'm really
because that's when story started getting involved in like character progression and less just combat.
So, yeah, that was that. So I guess, okay, then maybe it's more than 4 years. It would have been 2016.
Wow.
So 2011 is when I started. So yeah, five years or so.
Wow.
Of just kind of being like meh to it, and then eventually being like, I actually really enjoy this.
When did Avery get in the picture? Have you known Avery since school as well? Or?
Since college. So she was in that. Oh wait, no, she wasn't in that group. No, she hadn't joined yet. She avoided D&D for a bit. She was like, "It's got math in it. No, thank you." And I was like, "Yeah, I know, right?" So,
you can't ever avoid it. You can't avoid it forever. We're coming for you all, everybody watching. You're all going to be part of our coven at some point.
But eventually, yeah, she joined the campaign just before Fool's Gold. So there's a campaign just before Fool's Gold, and then there's the Fool's Gold campaign.
Was that a Felix campaign as well? Or,
yeah. That was his first bigger campaign, because he had a campaign before. Well, no, I think it was the same campaign. So I think that was his first campaign, and then Fool's Gold was his second.
Right. So he'd cut his teeth on something else. Have you ever had any plans of talking about the stories of that first campaign in any capacity? Obviously, you don't have the capacity to be doing another fully animated retelling, but
hell no. Yeah.
Have you considered doing it in any other concept, like podcast?
I've done snippets because there's some videos I put out that are like my favorite Nat 20s and Nat 1s.
Right.
And there's the one snippet of, I have a mini Minotaur I was playing through that campaign. And he was, he's just like this little Minotaur guy with a big axe. And we were fighting this big dragon was the big bad. It was like this guy who could transform into a dragon, and I don't remember the plot, to be honest. It was even Felix is like, I don't remember, a bad guy.
I was making it up.
Yeah, so, but we have a homebrew rule at our table that if you roll 3 nat 20s in a row,
insta-kill,
it's an instant death to whatever that is.
Yes, I remember that came up when I was playing with Felix, and there was a Tarask involved in this one shot that we were doing, and I think 2 people, I think maybe Dag was playing with us, and I think Dag had rolled 2 20s, and he was like, "Do you have the insta-death thing that these guys do? If I roll another 20, do I get to kill your Tarask?" I was like, "Fuck no, you don't get to kill my Tarask, you asshole. This is such a... There's like 1 Tarask per planet in my world, and they're meant to be like the biggest, baddest... Because I hate how shit the Tarask is in 5th edition D&D. It's built up to be this incredible thing, and it's just the worst. And so I homebrewed an incredible version of the Tarask, and I was so excited to finally get to use it, especially against Felix. And then Dag's like this close to 120 away from just insta-killing it.
Yeah, so we have that rule, and when my character saw the big bad, I was like, I'm gonna hit him. and then I got a nat 20, and he's like, oh shit, roll again. I got another nat 20, and then it was just like, roll again, and then I got another nat 20.
Oh shit, yes.
And then I told him, like, look, this is your big bad, so it's okay if we don't kill him. And he's like, you know what? I'm gonna roll for him and see how he does. If he rolls well enough, he survives, just barely,
just barely.
Right? He rolls a nat 1.
I mean, at that point, the dice are telling you. Like, even I would go, oh, he's definitely dead. Like, there's a 1 in 160,000 chance of that happening, is it? Yeah, 160. A 1 in 160,000 chance. And you're like, okay, the dice have told me that's what's happening, so that's what's happening.
That's pretty much what it was. That we were all losing our minds. So yeah, my little mini minotaur just like cleaved him, and then he got dragged down to hell. That was like the whole thing. He like died and got dragged down to hell. So like that's that campaign. Nah, we didn't do a lot with it. We were just there really just having fun and fucking around, as previous campaigns were. And then after that, that's when Fool's Gold started to change. We started to change things. Yeah. So hence why it's like, that's why I chose the Tarrasque section to tackle first, because it was like the best. And people are just like, why don't you just start from the beginning? It's like, it's not that relevant, as we were just fucking around for a bit. We were just like playing around, and there were some funny moments, but overall it's nothing that I would want to like actually fully animate or anything like that. But yeah, so D&D was a wild thing. You just kind of
I love that it's got such staying power. D&D's got such addictive qualities to it. I find so many people I talk to about how they got into it end up with a similar story of just like for a lot of people it's the first time they played, they were immediately hooked. That's how it was for me. But I love to see that even in the situation where you were actively fighting it and you hated it for several years, and Avery, who is also a significant part of Dingo Doodles, also hated it and didn't want to get into it and was like not interested because it was math. And then you both somehow ended up significantly in it as in the D&D space. So Avery was in that. Was her first game the Felix the previous one to Fool's Gold as well? That's when she started playing with you guys.
Yeah, started to play with it. So yeah, and then
continued on into Fool's Gold.
The Fool's Gold, and where she played Gothy, and then that stuff. So.
So jumping back even further then, so if you got into it when you were like grade 11, what were you like before then? What were you into? You were always into art? You're always an artist of sorts? Yeah, I'd always been drawing and doing comics and all that stuff for a very long time. And do you remember doing that, like, even as a kid? It was just like in you to just always be doodling and stuff?
Right away. Yeah. It was just like, crayons. I remember my very first like really thinking about art moment, and I think I was about 3 years old, and I was watching Sailor Moon. And she transforms, and there's that light in light, and my brain is like, how did they make light in art? And I like, because you have a white piece of paper and you take yellow and you put it on, and you're like, it doesn't shine. I don't understand why it's not shining, so it's like my first art moment of just being like, how did they do that? And then from there on, I just consistently was drawing. My sister would draw. So of course she's 4 years older than me. Right. So it was a lot of like, little sister looking at big sister and being like, how did she do that? And then you're just I was constantly drawing. I was always the person in school where, you get a project and then they're like, and then you have to draw this with this science project. They'd always be like, all right, Jenna, come here, like, you're part of my group because I just want you to draw. So I was like, sweet. So I just had to draw through certain types of my
that one person in the group who's good at drawing, so I guess you.
Yeah, exactly. So hell, that was great. That means I got my project done without actually having to learn anything. So
I mean, it's a good indication to kids at a young age that, hey, you've got a niche and that's going to be important. Like, you'll find a way to make things work for yourself. You don't. Not everybody has to be good at everything. We are a social animal. We can group together, make up for each other's strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, and I feel that the there was a switch that turned for me in grade 7, so I think I was 13. And I actually just like was saying to myself like I want to get good at this. Like
Right.
drawing, cuz you're just drawing for fun
Yeah.
and you're just doing whatever. But eventually I was just like I just want to get really good at this.
Mm-hmm.
So I started to look at, like, this was the early days of YouTube, like, 2007.
Yeah.
So you're looking at people drawing and doing speed paints and everything. So I was obsessed. I just
Yeah.
tons of speed paints, tons of things, just like researching, because I still didn't understand, like, how do you color things? How do you digitally color things? How does
Mm-hmm.
that work? And why doesn't my art look like your art? So it was the obsession of constantly wanting to learn and get better at drawing. Eventually, what pushed me further was there's a website called Gaia Online. I don't know if you've ever heard of this website,
No.
but it was kind of like, I guess it would be modern day. There's like Roblox or whatever the fuck. There's like certain websites that kids go on, and then they can make a little character, and then they put clothes on them, and
Right.
then
Right.
they
Right.
have
Yeah. You
like,
got your little
and there's like
avatar that you can do whatever with.
forums. Yeah, there's forums. There's things you could talk in. They even eventually had like a little game.
Mm-hmm.
Um. Anyway, so, but there was forums that had art where you could do commissions, and it
Okay.
wasn't real money. It was their gold. It was their
Right.
money.
In world
Online
currency
money.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was my time to be like, I will do commissions for this fake money, because as a kid, that's more important than real money.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, I can buy
Like
digital goods with
I'd be
this.
spending my real life pocket money on buying in-game currency anyway.
Exactly. So I would do commissions, which meant I had to work with people. I
Yeah.
had to figure out how to draw something that I wasn't used to, and then to keep working on it. And I was constantly doing that stuff. And it was a good way to cushion that transition from, like, fun artist to, I'm going to take this seriously,
Yeah.
and I'm going to actually think about the skill that goes behind it. And I worked, you know, really hard after school, just being like, I'm just gonna start doing commissions and on weekends, and learning about Photoshop, how does that work, and digital coloring and all that
That's
stuff.
amazing.
So yeah,
And your
it
family was
was
supportive of you going like, yeah, this is going to be your route.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. My I grew up in a very hippy dippy family, and
Amazing.
my mother's writer is a writer, and then my
Right.
dad's a musician.
Oh, it definitely helps
So
then.
it was just like,
They're not going to be
they
like, no
looked at
daughter
me
of
and they
mine's going to be an artist. You're going to be broke.
yeah, yeah.
They're
The
like,
only
hey, we
pushback I
have
ever,
lived the life of being broke. We know what it's like to be broke,
yeah,
struggling
exactly.
artists.
And literally, my parents were just like, yeah, I mean, if you love it and you can keep doing it,
Mm-hmm.
then we've always had the idea that money will find you, and it
Yeah,
does
yeah,
for me
yeah.
anyway.
Has for me as
So,
well. I pay a
yeah,
mortgage doing Dungeons and Dragons. How ridiculous is that?
dude, same. It's crazy. So yeah, it was a natural transition
Mm,
to do art, but my brain didn't click that it could be a career
right.
until around grade 11, because I had an art project. Well, not actually, it wasn't an art project. It was a literate project. Like, what was it? It was Beowulf.
Right.
So you know the story Beowulf,
Mm-hmm.
and it was an English class assignment, and where the teacher said you could do anything to tell the story of Beowulf, anything you wanted. So I
Okay.
chose comics,
Nice.
and I made a 30-page comic in a week.
Wow. Holy
So
shit.
I just
You
I was going
smashed
crazy.
that out. Like, how many panels per page, roughly?
Uh, they're probably around 9 or
Wow.
so.
That's a lot of drawing
So
in a week.
it was a lot of
God
drawing,
damn.
and it was digital, because I gotten a job and I'd saved up enough money to buy a tablet. That was like my number one
Right.
goal. It's like, I'm gonna
Yeah,
buy a
right.
tablet. And then so I was just like, hell yeah. So I would be drawing comics, like, in class, doing other things when I'm not
Yeah.
supposed to, but I was
Yeah.
just like, I
Yeah.
have to get this project done. It was like crack cocaine. And
Yeah.
so, because the thing about it is that I was doing adaptation of it that was comedy driven. So
Right.
I wrote the jokes and I retold Beowulf, but in a funny way,
Right.
in a way that was just like, it was not at all what Beowulf has originally been written, other than like, I wrote that Beowulf was a coward and that Grendel was just kind of like a cat guy who was just like, I just get out of my space kind of thing. You know, like it was comedy. It was adaptation comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did it. I submitted it. I got like 100% on it because the
Hell
teacher
yeah.
loved it. But she was the first person who was outside of my family that came to me and said, "You should do this as a career.
Yeah.
Like you should.
God, it's
You're
so important,
funny."
isn't it? It's like
Yeah,
when a teacher gives you that level of, and as you say, outside of you, you feel like you can trust it a lot more when it's coming from someone who's not meant to unconditionally support and love and whatever. You're like,
absolutely.
oh, you're not. You could just as easily have not said this, and yet you've gone out your way to actively encourage me to do this. I can put some actual weight into what you're saying, and I've always had just the highest respect for teachers who go above and beyond, especially because teachers are vastly under-respected and underpaid for what they do. But the ones that go about ensuring that they see a spark in some kid and go, this is something that I need to make, like this is going to be a core memory for this kid if I am the first person to really actively encourage them to do something that they're good at.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what happened. And even her husband, who was another teacher, stopped me in the hallway and was like, "Hey, I read your comic. It was
Amazing.
really good."
Amazing.
And then from there on, I started to draw comics of my friends and post them on Facebook.
Hell yeah.
And I'd like tag them and do things. And then my school, like my grade, started to read them because it was all comedy
Amazing.
stuff.
Yeah.
So I'd have kids coming up to me and be
Was
like,
that
"That comic you
terrifying?
wrote."
Were you a pretty good
What?
school? Was it terrifying, like having your peers reading stuff and knowing that you're putting yourself out there in that way and you feel
No,
vulnerable at
I had
all?
a pretty
No,
good class. Like
amazing. That's
I
good.
thankfully my my childhood was, I avoided girls at all costs. I had all guy friends. I had like one or two girlfriends, but girls, I was like, I don't understand what's going on with you girls.
Right.
I have no idea what's going on with your brains. You're confusing and you're very dramatic. And I'm going to leave now, and I'm going to go hang out with my guy friends. So when I would do that stuff, it was just like, everybody's like, yeah, that's just what she does. Like she writes comedy and she draws.
Right.
So I'd
That's
have
good.
like
Yeah.
a little fun fan base at high school of these people
Amazing.
coming up to me being like, I read your comic, I thought it was really funny. When's the next issue? You know, and stuff like that. So
Hell yeah.
um,
So even from my school, you've had to deal with somebody going, "That was amazing. Give me another immediately,"
absolutely.
which of course is the staple of Dingo Doodles story time.
Yeah.
Amazing. We after however many months, we finally got episode 35. When's 36? Like, give me a fucking. Oh my god.
Just finish.
Give me a fucking month before you at least start pressuring me for the next one.
Yeah. It's so true. It just, that's the thing, is that when you create things, they're always
Somebody
hungry
wants the
for
next,
more.
yeah.
So
Which is,
um,
that's entirely the show business motto, isn't it? Always leave them wanting more.
so yeah, and
Is
then
the
from there on,
Beowulf comic still existing? Do you still have it somewhere? Did you keep a copy of it?
I do have a copy of it. It's somewhere deep in one of my like hard drives.
Did you ever
You
consider
know, because
posting
I,
it?
God no,
No, why
God
not?
no,
If
because
it was that good
it's
that it kicked
poorly
everything off,
written.
it's probably
Poorly written. It's also like, like just the drawing of the words. I'm like, what the hell is that word? But also like it was written for the time,
yeah.
so it probably wouldn't hold up now.
Fair enough.
This is 2011, baby.
So,
If you remember
well,
that, there was a
I was
lot
talking
of
about
crazy
this
shit.
literally last night on stream. I was like, "There's just some things that are best left to your enjoyment of nostalgia, and go, oh, that was a good TV series that I remember watching growing up, and I won't watch it again because I know that the jokes would not hold up, and there'd probably be all sorts of jokes that would make me go, oh, no thanks."
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting. I actually tried to rewrite Beowulf again in college,
Oh yeah.
um, because oh no, I did finish it. I did another version of it because the last project of my art college was like you have to make a thing
Hmm.
at the end, like another
Yeah.
something professional or whatever. And so I remade Beowulf because I loved it so much, and then which I also made like a ridiculous amount of pages in such a short period window of time.
Would you
Uh,
put that one up?
during that no. uh,
I want to see
but
Dingo does Beowulf.
yeah, dude, that I actually thought of that as my career choice at the beginning
Oh
when
really?
I did art college was like because when I also once again my art college teacher was like you should do this as a career. You can get paid for this.
Yeah.
So I actually had the idea of I'm going to make comics that readapt old literature because I really liked old
Right. Yes.
literature.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Beowulf, I started a Hamlet script.
Nice.
I had done like I wanted to go through all of Shakespeare's stuff and just kind of make it comedy
Nice. Yeah.
comics.
Adaptable,
Um,
accessible for people who ain't gonna ever read Shakespeare.
Pretty much it was just like like an SNL skit but for
Mm-hmm.
Shakespeare. So I wanted to do that, but then as I was doing it I just didn't feel that urge to be obsessive about it.
Right. Yeah.
I realized that
A
my
cool
career
concept, but
choices are usually
it didn't grab you like viscerally. It wasn't gonna be your passion.
yeah, and if you're going to do something you got to
It
make
should be
sure
your
that
passion. Yeah.
it's all yeah, it's your obsession because that's where you put your best
Yeah.
work into. um yeah, so it was yeah, so art for me in general, yeah, transitioned from comics. I did Electric Bunny comics from there. I started that in 2012,
Mm.
which was a comic website that I would just post random comic ideas I had of
Cool.
like comedy. It's all like one sketch comedy
Right. Right. Right.
stuff, right? And I did that for 7 years or
Wow.
so. And I tried to post every week. It
Mm-hmm.
was like 4 comics a month. And I did well for it. It definitely is one of the reasons Dingo Doodles did so well, is
Right.
because I had an audience already
I had a jumping off
and I
point.
jumped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
So I
it's a huge
jumped.
thing for people to keep in mind when they look at comparing themselves with other people's journeys of success. It's easy to see that your Dingo Doodles YouTube channel, it's like, oh, the very first video you posted, or second video technically, is got 5 million views, and suddenly everybody was clamoring for, oh man, why can't I have that? Well, you're ignoring the fact that she had an audience elsewhere that came across. Same with me in Twitch. Like when I started Twitch, I was affiliate within a week and partner within 9 months, and people go, "That's unheard of on Twitch." And I had to grind for 3 viewers for 3 years. It's like, yeah, because I already had the Viva La Dirt League audience that came across to watch me. If I didn't, I would have been grinding as well. I did
Yeah, you
all the
have to
same
start
grinding
somewhere.
as you. I just grinded on a different platform. I just grinded to a different
Yeah,
audience in a different
exactly.
place, and then moved across to other platforms.
Yeah, exactly. So it's that thing where no matter what journey you have to start from nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Zero followers, zero anybody
Yeah,
knowing who the hell you are.
yeah,
And then as you just have to keep going. And it took me, you know, like I started Electric Bunny in 2012, and then I didn't start YouTube until 2018.
right.
So you can see from 2012 to 2018, so 6 years, I had 15,000 followers on Facebook, on my Facebook
Mm-hmm.
thing, whatever. Uh, and Electric Bunny was doing pretty well. It did hit a viral moment, but um, I think from there on, it kind of launched me into other things because one of the reasons I could start YouTube is because I actually got a contract from. Have you ever heard of the game Payday or Payday 2 or it's like a
It
heist
sounds
game
familiar, but no, I
on
don't think so.
Steam if you look it up. It's like everybody's wearing like clown masks and
Oh
they
no.
do heists and stuff, but it was a popular game at the time when it came out and I think it's doing okay. But I did a comic that was doing a spoof on Overwatch. Overwatch was really starting to take off,
Right.
and it went very viral. Like there's a lot that everybody just was making shit out of it, like
Yeah, yeah.
dubs and videos and all this crazy stuff, and it was like, oh, okay, cool. And then because of that comic, this company, Starbreeze Studio, contacted me, and they were like, can you make Payday comics or Payday 2 comics for us?
Right.
And to be in the similar vein, but do it like 52 times. So once a week
Yeah.
for, for the year.
Wow.
And that was my first like paid gig.
Yeah.
And
How
from
did it feel?
that,
Was it overwhelming, or were you just like, "Yep, I'm ready for this"?
I mean, there was no hesitation.
Yeah.
It was just like, I'm just doing this. This is my opportunity.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I had just lost my job, I
Right.
think, that
Perfect time, sort of thing.
month or so, or previous month or something. And I always have the thing where it's like, I take opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
So just came my way and was like, all right, I guess I'm doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And then so for a year and a little bit, I made Payday 2 comics, and I think they posted 4
Oh
out of
wow.
the 52.
Oh man.
But to be fair, I'm glad because I did my best, but at the end of the day, I had only played the game certain amounts, and most of my information came from Wiki.
Right.
And Felix had already played that game quite a bit. So I had just kind of gone to him being like, does this make sense from the game? And he's like, yeah, and then, or no. And so
Yeah.
he was a good part of that. But
Consultant.
drove me.
Payday consultant.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because like I would just send them a comic, like every month, or I'd send them like 4 comics, and then I would get nothing back. Like I would send them the email and I get nothing back,
No feedback. No
but I keep
acknowledgement.
getting paid.
Well, I
So
guess they're liking it enough.
I heard nothing, and I kept getting a paycheck, and I'm like, okay. And then I saved as much as I could. I saved about $15,000 out of
Nice.
that, so
Significant.
that when I finished that contract, I could try YouTube, because I had
Yeah.
been wanting to do YouTube since 2013, 2014. Right. So this was my opportunity to be like, I have enough money saved up that I can live maybe for a year. Like I can really stretch it.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Because
we're all used to living on the lowest of budgets as artists. Yeah. You're like, I can make this stretch 2 years. I got a $20 paycheck. I'm good for the next month.
Exactly. So it was just like, and also this was 2017, so it was actually feasible.
Yeah.
But yeah, it
before the world collapsed even further.
From everything. So yeah, it gave me my stepping stone, where I could just be like, okay, I have gained skills from demanding to make comedy on demand. Like you have to learn how to make comedy on demand.
Yeah.
It's harder than you think.
It is. Yeah, because with the Viva stuff, we do half-hour episodes of the D&D show. So like we film an entire table session, and I have to be aware of about every half hour that's an entire new episode. So thankfully the guys are all incredible, got comedic timing and comedic brains for this after doing sketch comedy for so long. But I need to keep things moving while also letting them have enough time to do shenanigans and comedy stuff, and then going, right, story needs to happen because we've only got half hour. So it is difficult to go, okay, now be funny. You turn up to play D&D at 8 in the morning and you're all fucking tired and bleary eyed, and it's like, right, where did we leave off? Okay, be funny now. You're on camera and there's no turning off. You're on camera fully for now for the next 5 hours.
Yeah,
it's a demand.
It's a muscle. It's a muscle that you build. I don't think people understand that creativity with comedy in general, but it's a muscle. Like I know that when Felix, he transitioned from doing like construction work to doing creative work, he didn't understand why he was tired at the end of the day. Because he's just like, I
Yeah.
didn't move anything.
Yeah.
I've just been sitting in front of my computer all day and I didn't get anything done. And it's like, yeah, because it's freaking exhausting that your
Yeah.
brain is running at like 120%, but you can't seem to get anything out of
Mm-hmm.
it. And it's frustrating. So you build that muscle of eventually being able to create on demand. Um, and that's what I think the Payday 2 contract did for me, was just understanding that, and Electric Bunny in general. Um, but that helped transition over to YouTube.
What was it about
Uh,
YouTube that you'd wanted to do? Like you'd watched a bunch of art channels on YouTube and thought, yeah, I'm really vibing with what they do here and the idea of putting out videos, and YouTube was just the
yeah,
platform to do it on.
it was the storytime animation videos. It was
Right.
people telling stories about their lives
Yeah.
and the comedy behind it that I really liked. I like that snappy,
Mm-hmm.
like boom, boom, boom. Here's a comedy skit, and you just really think that's really fun. And my channel was originally just supposed to be one of those types of channels where
Mm-hmm.
I'd tell stories about from my life, I'd tell
Mm-hmm.
stories from a little bit, but
Yeah,
the
you can tell. You
D&D
can tell
stuff.
that you can tell that's how it was intended from the way that your first video starts with you going, "Well, I didn't expect my first video to be about Dungeons and Dragons, but oh no, don't click away yet." And you're thinking that people
Yeah,
will be like, "Ah, I'm here for the art," but not. And you're like, "No, no, 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 this will just be a one-off." And then you do a couple other videos, and then the part two comes out, and you're like, "Well, demand required." I tell you a little bit more information about the D&D thing, apparently. And then part three is
yeah,
like, well, you wanted to know more information about the D&D thing, so I guess we'll do
guess it's
this a
happening.
bit.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it was supposed to just be one of those generic storytelling channels, I guess, and because I wanted to explore comedy and storytelling and art. I wanted to get better as an artist.
Did you have the typical Dingo Doodle style for the Fool's Gold stuff? Did you have that style already kind of locked in by this point, or were you still exploring with what your style was going to be, what your type of artwork was going to look like?
Are you talking about like when I started, or are you talking
When you
about
started
now?
Dingo,
Or?
when you started the Dingo Doodles channel on YouTube, and you started your D&D stories, were you still in a method? I mean, I suppose art is always, you're always discovering new stuff. But had you already kind of felt like you'd found what your style was, how you liked to draw, what, or were you was the Dingo Doodles the start of you trying something new, art wise and style wise?
Def- Definitely starting new. Yeah, it was definitely something where I was just not really knowing where to, like, how cartoony
Yeah.
or how simple or something. But the main thing was, how do I animate this without killing myself? Because it's
Right.
just
Right.
so
Right.
demanding.
Kind
So
of
it's like, okay, how do you
inordinate
simplify?
amount of detail to every bloody frame. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Had,
So
had,
it's
had,
about that.
had you done animation? Because obviously there's art and there's animation, very lots of crossover, but they are different. Like animation will require many frames of the same thing, and as you say, like you've got to compromise on detail so that you can actually get enough done. Had you done a lot of animation work before the YouTube, or was that a new foray for you?
So yeah. So the thing is that I actually went to another college for animation,
Oh, okay. So you did
and
art college
so
and
I
animation college.
went to two. Yeah, so I did first.
Nice.
I did an art college, and then which was in Alberta, which is a one province, and then uh, I had a real hankering and a feeling that I had to go learn 2D animation. I
Right.
just like I had this intense feeling. It's like I have to go learn
Yeah.
this. I have no idea why,
Mm-hmm.
but I have to go learn it. And so I just it was a tough decision because it meant Felix and I were going to be long distance,
Yeah.
and
So
it
that's
was
that's
that
the
thing where
reason
I
you went away when Felix started his campaign. The
yeah.
reason was you went off to
So
animation. That's cool.
yeah, so I did the 2D animation over there for a year, 13 months in total.
And where was that? That was
But
Vancouver or
no, that was in Kelowna, BC. So
Kelowna?
there's a
Right.
art college called Cato, CAT.
Right.
Oh, and though I think they've changed their name a bit, but it doesn't matter. Um, I had this real intuition feeling that I had to learn this. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
very intuition person. I My logic and my intuition is like intuition much more than logic. Just
Right.
the way I've lived my life. Um, but that feeling was so intense, I had to go pursue it,
Mm-hmm.
and I did it for that time period. I can't be in school for very long. I was like, it's got to be a year or nothing because I'm not going to be in there for 4 years. Absolutely not. So it was funny because with that feeling of like duty, or not duty, but like you just have to do it. I don't know
Yeah.
if you've ever had those
Oh,
moments
yeah.
where you're just like, I have to do this.
Hmm.
I don't know why, but I got it.
I,
And
I think it's very important that people learn to listen to that about themselves as well, because
it's super.
I think we know what we need a lot more uh, than we can necessarily be conscious of reasoning for. We just know this is. I just know that I need to do this right now, and so I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was that feeling, and it was funny because it drove my teachers crazy because in my classes I did fairly well. Like I was some of the top in the class, and so they had lined up animation jobs for me. They're like, the studio would love to talk to you. We'd
Right.
love to go do this job,
Right.
but I knew I didn't want to do that,
Yeah.
and I just didn't feel like I wanted to be in the industry as just somebody who animates. Nothing wrong with it, but it just didn't fit me,
Hmm. Yeah.
and drove my teachers insane.
Yeah. I bet.
They were like, then why are you here? And it's like, because I had to learn it. I have to learn this for some reason. And then, a few years later, I use it as my
Hmm.
career.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, so I absolutely think, following that
I think it's
intuition.
important to remember that nothing is necessarily a useless failure of your life. Like, you are a
No,
product of everything that you've done, and you don't know how those things are going to play into who you are. It might never play into your career. It might never play into something in a tangible way. But everything has contributed to you learning something new, or to developing some new skill, or some new understanding of the world, or some new empathy, or deeper respect for certain careers, or whatever it is. And everything builds to you being the person you are. And so even if you've done a year in clown college and you're not necessarily using that, or so you don't think you're using it, you are definitely still using a lot of the things you learned, a lot of this intangible skills, or stuff that you can't necessarily put your finger on. So yeah, if you go, I know that I need to do this, you go off for a year and you learn it. Obviously the people there are predisposed to go, this the people coming here want to do this particular type of path, and so we're going to go, yeah, encourage this. And then you want to diverge, and they go, this doesn't fit my normal playbill. This isn't the way that things normally go. And you're like, yeah, well, life doesn't have to go in a particular pre-described way. I will
yeah,
eventually use this
that's
skill either
exactly.
directly or indirectly in some capacity. And then it turns out, yeah, you did. How long after leaving the animation college did you start the channel?
I graduated in 2015 and I started animation in 2018. So it took me about 3 years to
Mm.
get my feet on the ground because it was that thing of, building with
Mm-hmm.
Electric Bunny and then eventually
Yeah.
doing Starbreeze Studios and then animation. So yeah, that was just a roller coaster. I was trying to figure where I fit, and that was that moment where we're talking about intuition, where the D&D video wouldn't leave me alone.
Right.
Like, I wanted to do something easy. Like, I wanted
Yeah.
something about bugs, or about, how I almost died a couple times. Like, all those things I wanted to do because I knew people would be able to connect to it a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why at the beginning of the video I was like, I didn't think my first video was gonna be D&D, but I guess here it
I
is
can't
because it
stop
wouldn't
it. I
leave
gotta
me
get it out.
alone.
It's amazing to feel the things that the ancient Greeks must have been feeling when they were coming up with talking about, like, the muse. The muses were like, it felt like an external thing that is saying, you have to write this song. There is a poem that won't leave you alone. You've got to write it down. You've got to get this story out. Somebody needs to, and it feels sometimes, from a creative standpoint, it does feel like there is something else that's going. Something needs to channel through you and get you to make this thing that you won't be able to move on till you get it down. Sometimes it's literally gotten me out of bed in the middle of the night because I've got this idea and I just can't stop thinking about it. So I need to write it down at the very least, write the idea down so that I'll come back to it tomorrow, because otherwise the muse won't leave me alone and let me sleep.
Absolutely. Like, that's something to really like listen to and pay attention to. And intuition, my family's a big believer in that stuff, of
Mm-hmm.
feeling those moments. And it's like, you know the answer in 3 seconds. You
Mm-hmm.
know, whatever that
Yeah.
question is, you know the answer.
Yeah.
But it's the logic that comes in and starts testing it and being like, are you sure? And no, no, no,
Yeah.
no. Right? Even though you may not like the answer. And I have a very big example of that. I don't know if I've told you this story at it, but it was with my career. I think it might have been the year that I last talked to you. I'm not sure. But um, after the Kickstarter happened, so the Fool's
Mm-hmm.
Gold Into the Belly Wilds module Kickstarter, you can check out. Yeah, that one. I got approached by Talent Agent C, and they were very helpful. I mean, they're still my talent agent, and they wanted to talk to me about doing more things that I'd always wanted to do. Like, my career dream is to make a show, animated show, like how Vox Machina does or something like that.
Yeah.
Like that kind of animation, beautiful, telling a story, engaging. That's like my dream. And they were literally giving it to me in
Yeah.
this meeting. And they were like, we can do that for you. We know who to talk to. We know all these things. Um, and then they were like, I have this specific studio that really wants to talk to you. And they're a very big studio. And they were like, they want to talk to you about making a story with them and all that. And of course, I'm excited and losing my mind over it. But after the first meeting, I knew right away that I had to say no.
Mm-hmm.
It was really hard
Yeah.
because I wanted it really
Yeah.
badly. Like, that's my dream. But to have your dream in front of you and then being told tuition wise, no,
Yeah.
that's really tough.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I get that.
that's crushing.
Yeah, I remember it
And
was around the time of Gen Con when we last saw, because I remember that was something you were struggling with at the time, and I was like, man, that sounds difficult is an understatement of the year. Like, it sounds like being really tested on your ability to trust yourself and to trust your gut, to trust your instinct, to be told something that you have wanted for so long is now right there in front of you, and then to get that feeling of this isn't right, and not even necessarily know why, and then also have the self doubt that comes with it. I'm sure of going, is that just nerves or is it my intuition?
yeah,
Is it
yeah.
just an
And
imposter
then,
syndrome or is it intuition? Like, is it something about this that is telling me this isn't the right thing to do?
yeah, and I've been, through my life, I've been able to differentiate it. So
Which is
because
fantastic. Yeah.
there's a deep breath you take, and then you see, is this anxiety or
Mm.
is this truth? And then
Yeah.
I felt it was truth, and it's just so crushing. And it was
Yeah.
like, it's tough. But you know what it was? You know what's so funny about it is that it was right, because that same year, so I rejected them. I said kindly, like, let me finish my series.
Thank you, but I'm not
Let
in the
me
place
get to a
yet.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not in that place yet. Like, please wait for me. And they were like, totally, we'll wait. I was like, cool. And then that year, the writer strike happened
Right.
in August. So if I had signed that contract with them, I would have lost everything. I would have lost the IP. I would have lost the entire thing.
Wow.
Everything would have gone terrible, because I would have had to drop animation on YouTube because I'm focusing on
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
the contract. And then if I had given them my IP for Fool's Gold, they would have had it, and then they would have canceled it, but they still own it for
Yeah.
5 years. So I wouldn't have been able to animate it on YouTube.
Whew, man.
So I would have
What a
lost
bullet.
everything at that. Yeah. So I really, you know, I turned to Felix and I was like, that's the reason I had to say no, because
Mm.
it would have all fallen apart. And but it's a really tough decision, because you not only are you just like, really, are you serious, I have to say no to this, but everybody around you is also going, are you crazy? You
Yeah.
know. But you
Amazing.
have to stick to your guns when you know it's the right thing to do. So
It's
I'm
also
a
it's
survivor.
also a reason that I've always loved the old proverb. I think it's often attributed to a Chinese story, but I think when last time I mentioned it on stream a while back, somebody said, "Oh, it's actually told in a few different cultures." But regardless, the story of the how does it begin? A farmer loses his horse. It runs away one day, and the villagers say, "Oh, what bad luck!" And he goes, "Maybe." And then the next day, the horse returns, and it's brought other wild horses with it, and so now the farmer has more horses. And the villagers say, "Oh, what good luck!" And he says, "Maybe." And then while his son is trying to break in the new wild horses, he ends up getting bucked and breaking his leg. And the villagers say, "Oh, what bad luck!" And the farmer says, "Maybe." And then the next day, the military come to conscript people into the war, but the son can't be taken to war because he's got a broken leg. And so the villagers say, "Oh, what good luck!" And the farmer says, "Maybe." And it's a relatively famous one, but it does remind you to go. We don't necessarily know the things that are considered to be terrible things happening in your life, and whether they will actually lead to better things happening later because of it. Like sometimes you've got to go chug 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 up the roller coaster if you're going to have the enjoyment of the dip. Like you've got to have the ups and the downs in order to make them actually live. If we averaged out everything in our life, we'd never have highs or lows, and it'd just be such a boring life to
Yeah.
live.
Yeah, and you wouldn't learn anything.
Yeah.
So,
So
but
you said no to this deal that was around the time of when you were coming to the end of your Dingo. You knew that you were coming up to the end of the story. You already knew how many more you'd had planned out, or you still were kind of working on
uh
that.
no, I was still quite in the middle. I was like cuz this would have happened 2022,
Mm-hmm.
I think. When I had that conversation.
Right.
And then so yeah, from there to now. I knew that I needed about 3 more years or so to finish up Fool's Gold, which has come to fruition. Though it's funny because when I started Fool's Gold, like I started like the episode 2 or 3, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to. This is gonna take me a bit. I know how long the story goes. And my brain and my intuition told me 8 years, and I was like, "Are you
Are you
fucking
fucking
kidding
kidding
me?
me?
8 years? What?" And then in
Did
April
you
it'll
know?
be 8 years.
How long?
So I was like, "God damn it!"
I hate that you're always right. How
Yeah.
long into Dingo? Because obviously, episode one you were expecting to be a one and done. Episode two, you wouldn't have gone. Oh, this is going to be forever. How long in were you like? Oh, I'm going to have to tell the entire campaign story here.
I think it was after episode 5 or 6. That was
When
with
you'd
the
gotten to
whole
the end of that
story
first
section.
arc, as it were, and then gone. Oh, people are still clamoring for this. The muse is still there, wanting me to tell more. There's still more stories to tell, and it is an incredible. Like, obviously, we're only hearing it from your perspective, but from everything we do hear about that story, and from my own experience playing with Felix, it must have been a hell of a campaign. Like, there's so many elements. There's so many elements of just like, holy shit, how amazing is storytelling? How amazing is
I
good storytelling? It seems like it was a hell of a campaign, and to only run for what 2 3 years? You say 16 to 18,
One and a half.
1.5
One and a
years
half.
to cram all that in. Were you playing that campaign every weekend?
Yeah, every week. Yeah, every Tuesday. We
Every
were really
Tuesday.
good at being every Tuesday.
Yeah,
So,
it is.
yeah.
It does make a difference when you can actually find that schedule and stick to it, because life so often gets in the way of D&D, and so to have like a group of people who are dedicated enough to say no, we're gonna prioritize this. This is gonna be a commitment for us. And for the
Yeah.
longest time, it was just Felix and the three of you, right? After I forget what you call them, Gothan's character and Puddles. You think?
Oh, yeah, yeah, John and Puddles.
John, that was it. John and Puddles had a
Yeah,
baby
John
and
and
left
Puddles.
early into the
Yeah, yeah.
situation and
They
left
had to leave.
the three of the players, right? So it would have been slightly easier with three players and a DM to arrange, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, and we would always do it after work. So it was
Mm-hmm.
kind of like, all right, come over around 6:30, and then we'd start playing it by 7, and we're done by 9, and then we kind of be done with it. So, yeah, it was a pretty rigid schedule. It was rare if we missed it.
How
So yeah, we got to just play.
how far into the Dingo Doodles story did you know how many more you had to go? Like when the end was going to be?
Mm. I didn't know the number exactly. Like I kind of roughly would do it, be like, okay, every arc seems to take
Yeah.
about 5 episodes to get done. Um, but yeah, it's yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not particularly sure on
Because
that.
the next episode's 39, right? And that's going to be the last. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, that's the finale.
Finale.
Uh,
And
yeah.
do you can you give us any teasers about it at all? Like roughly how long you think it's going to be? Is it going to be the same sort of length as everything else? Are you going to double it? What's the?
No, I'm not gonna double it. God forbid. No. It's
Yeah, I'm going to
probably.
double it.
I'm
Yeah, can I
hoping.
expect it in a year?
Yeah. I'm hoping to get it at like maybe the 15-minute mark, 17
Mm-hmm.
minute, depending.
Because those
20
first
would be
videos are
pushing it.
like 10 ish, 10 to 12 or so, and then you started
Yeah.
brushing it up a bit. More and more
Yeah,
story to
because
tell, more detail to include.
I wanted all that. Yeah, I wanted all the emotions to be on spot
Yeah,
sometimes because it
yeah,
felt weird to stop some things.
yeah.
So, yeah, it was about a bit of up and down trying to figure out timeline. But this year, or I guess 2025, was really hard
Mm,
um, for animation in general because I had first of all I had transitioned my brain from Fool's Gold OG to Fool's Gold Sans,
mm-hmm.
and when you're obsessed with a story, it's hard to go back to the
Yeah,
previous story. So
yes.
I was struggling with that, but also on top of it, our Felix and I's lives changed a lot. He has started businesses in other province like
Mm-hmm.
away, so he's constantly traveling back and forth for 2 weeks. Sometimes he's gone, and for anybody who's had a partner for that long, it just kind of feels like you just get ripped apart, and then it's really hard to concentrate doing anything else. And then um, it was like a lot of ups and downs, and then on top of it, I'm reaching the end of this story. And I mean, ending a campaign or any story, the last 10 to 20% is agony. For me, anyway, it is agony because
Mm-hmm.
it is like, I just want this to be done.
Mm-hmm.
I love these characters. I love the story, but I am tired and
Mm-hmm.
I want this to be done so I can move on and my brain can actually think of something else. Um,
Yeah, and
and
for me, especially with the Azrim campaign that came to an end after 5 years, it was a lot of that of going. I'm desperate to tell new stories with these players. I'm desperate to try new systems, to try new areas of the world, to try new characters. But I also know that people's opinions of any kind of media, any kind of story, is like the vast majority of a person's opinion about a thing is influenced by the last episode, the last part, how the series ended. People, you can have the most incredible first few seasons of a TV show. If you keep it going past its prime and into parts where people start to fall off, people are going to hate the TV show. People have
they're
really
not
bad
going to recommend it.
yeah, people have really bad things to say when you bring up Game of Thrones, even though the entire series is incredible up to about season 6, and then they just kept it going, and the writers ruined it in the last season, and so people talk about it in bad ways. Same with Lost and other things like this, and so it was very important to me to not crash the plane in the last few like I was coming up to those end of a 5 year campaign and going, I need to land this plane. I'm desperate for this to be done. I'm desperate for it to end in a really satisfying way, to be an epic final finish, and to have people like leave off thinking this was incredible, not leave off thinking it didn't pay off everything that had been set up over the years. So there's a lot of pressure on you as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, there's definitely that pressure, and like you said, it's the last bit is always, it's got to be satisfying. It's got to be done right so that all those loose ends are tied up in some way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so for me, I knew how at least the series ended, and it's interesting with Fool's Gold because Fool's Gold has the ability to go even beyond this point in the finale. Um, but I knew that this was the place to stop. because I
Yeah.
couldn't go any further.
No.
And it just, I wanted it to be nice and tight and up
Mm-hmm.
in a little bow. And to be fair, like I like a little bit of background, but this is the finale. But I am planning to make one more video after, which is
Right.
simply just wrapping everything up
Wrapping
that
everything
needs
up
to be
makes
wrapped
sense.
up.
Yeah, because there's more
Any
to
sort of
the Dingo Doodles
question.
experience than there is just to the Fool's Gold campaign. So there's going to be plenty of like wrap up and epilogue and questions of like
Yeah.
things that didn't fit in elsewhere in the story. Of like, oh, you might have questions about what happened to this character or what happened over this in this arc and all this. It makes sense that you'd explore
Yeah,
it over
so
another.
I like to make something that wraps that up nice and tightly so that people can keep that as
Yeah.
like their own personal ending. Um, but anyway, the thing I was realizing and struggling with is uh so I had showcased episode 31 at Gen Con. I don't remember. Like I showed off the episode. I'm not sure you were there. I think you just left or something. It was like the last day of the con.
Right.
And that was the episode with Baby Sips. So that was like the reveal of Baby Sips, and like Sips's entire emotional arc had kind of wrapped up. And I realized after that episode that I was kind of done.
Yeah.
Like I had told the story I wanted to tell because it meant a lot to me, but I realized I had more to do. I had more to talk about for the other characters and the story and the actual campaign. And with that came a lot of resistance. Like every episode since episode 31 felt harder and harder to
Right.
make because it felt like I was done.
Yes.
And I had to keep going because I had to keep telling the story, and I wanted to make sure that I did it justice, and all the characters did it justice. So it was the realization that when I make and tell a story, I have to make sure that I am invested with the one character that I'm like psychology stuff with all the way through.
Yeah.
Because that way I can't have it that my character in any campaign is fixed or like finished their shit in the first couple arcs, and I'm like, well, then I'm out. There's nothing for me to work on.
Yes.
I like working on their mental psychology. That's a big thing for me. So when I finished Sips's arc, it was suddenly like, fuck, I got more to go. Like, okay, and understanding how to get through that and try to dive into the other characters' minds, which was really hard because it felt like I was digging into my friends' minds in a way.
Yeah,
I didn't really feel comfortable with it. But I was constantly checking in on my friends, being like, is this okay? Is that okay? You know, stuff like that. But it was an interesting problem to have where it was driving me up the wall because I've never dealt with this before. I had also never dealt with a project where I had to do it for so long, but also to tell a story all the way to the end like that. The only time I'd ever done that was that campaign I did with Felix. So, and even then, I remember the end was really hard to get through because it was, it's that last 10%.
Yeah.
That is, you're kind of hating everything you do.
I mean,
I know.
Completely understand that in pretty much any aspect of any sort of task I do, and since discovering that I have ADHD, it makes a lot more sense that I find tasks easy to start and then really hard to get that last. Just finish it off. Just finish anything, and whether it's a chore or whatever. Like I had obsessions with learning things. Like I'd learned the Nations of the World song from the Animaniacs and learned all of the countries of the United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, all the way until like the last verse, and I just didn't put any effort into like really solidifying that last verse. And then it was just the same throughout my life. I'd go, I'm almost done with it, and now I've lost my power to. It feels often like the scene from Forrest Gump where he's just been running and running and running, and he's got amassed this massive follower, and then he's in the middle of like the Midwest, and he just stops, and everybody stops like a good 200 meters behind him, and they're like, oh, what's he gonna say? And he turns around and goes, I think I'm gonna go home now. Sometimes it just feels like, and I've just realized that's it. My muse is gone. My muse is satiated with what we've done so far, and I'm and I'm going to move on to other projects. And then to be in the mid,
Yeah.
to feel that feeling in when you're not finished with something that you now feel obligated to finish, and then struggling to go, oh, I've got to force myself to keep going with something that the passion is no longer, not the passion, but the obsession is no longer there.
Drive.
The drive, yeah, the drive
Yeah.
is no longer there for it.
Yeah.
I suppose
Yeah, that
the
was
stuff
something
with
that was...
the stuff where you were doing things for a paycheck every single week though for payday, like that must have been training in a way for going, hey, this is a job that I need to finish whether I'm passionate for it or not right now.
Yep. Yeah, that's definitely something that, though it thankfully only went for a year, but um, yeah, the last 2 years for Fool's Gold has been a mental gymnastics of just trying to figure out how to get myself to do things. And then on top of it, I'm editing the Sans podcast, which is the one thing I am obsessed with.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm fighting against the obsession and then not wanting to do something.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to show through my work. I'm really scared about that the episodes in Fool's Gold will show that I'm kind of like...
Yeah. I can only,
like,
I mean, I can only speak for myself, but I can say that that hasn't come through at all. Like I haven't ever felt in watching a new episode, because your episodes, it's one of the things that people say about people getting started in YouTube are so obsessed with, oh, do I need to be consistent? Do I need to be putting up a schedule every single week? Do I need to this? Do I need to that? I'm like, if you have if you focus on the content and not the algorithm and that sort of stuff, you focus on doing things that you're passionate about, you build an audience that's enjoying that. It doesn't matter when you upload. People are gonna watch it, and yours is a perfect example of that. You as soon as a video comes, it hits my feed because it's like, oh, this is the sort of thing you'll drop something to watch, and sure enough, I'll go, oh shit, yeah, another Dingo, and I'll watch it, and it hasn't ever felt, for me, especially knowing you and knowing D&D behind the scenes stuff, knowing content creation, knowing a little bit of all this, I still haven't picked up on any Dingo's phoning it in or Dingo's just finishing this because it's a task. Like every episode has come out with incredible detail, incredible production value. The fight scenes that Avery choreographed for you, incredible stuff. The story that you tell and the voice. In fact, if anything, it's in the last few years of it, especially going back and watching the early stuff and then watching later stuff, you go, man, Dingo's developed a lot of skills over these years of doing this so often. Your voice work, your understanding of how to write which parts are going to be important and how to give those pauses, how to give these like tension building dramatic scenes with just a couple of frames of animation. You can just push it on somebody's eyes or something and it's like you're feeling like you're actually watching a live action actor giving this emotive performance. So it's definitely your skill has come through at making up for the lack of the to overcome the fact that you're forcing yourself to do it.
I mean, I'm glad that, I always test it with, like, I show it to, Felix and Avery. I'm like, do you feel that? And they're like, no. So, I have to just trust that and put it, because the problem is that I can't do any better than what I'm doing right now. Like, I can't not, right? Like, I can't push it any harder. That's as hard as I could go. So, yeah, I feel that with the ending coming, there's a level of relief, because it is that opening of, okay, what else is going to happen in my life? But it is a fear. Like, I don't know if you had that with ending the 5-year campaign, where you're like, something you'd been doing for so long, you felt comfortable in, at least that space, and now you're about to enter something completely a bit foreign, as much as it is like a different campaign for you, it still is foreign.
Yeah, and you go, and there's constantly a thought of, well, what if people hate it? What if everybody jumps ship at this point? What if everybody was loving it to a degree, and now they go, yeah, things are different. I'm not interested in following anything new, or this whole thing of grumbling about, I just want more of exactly what we've been having for forever. I've never fully understood people complaining about artists or musicians or anyone creative, like, deciding to change up, and people who complain about bands changing their style of their third album. Their third album's shit. Why don't they make more like their first? Because their first already exists. It doesn't. You can go and listen to that again. If that's the only sort of music you like, go listen to that. Like, the artist is free and encouraged to explore new things if they want to.
Yeah, exactly. So, there is a bit of fear of me moving on to something else. I like clean slates though. I
Hmm.
like starting new because it opens up the door of being like, I don't know where this is going to take me. And the thing I've realized for myself, especially now that I've like I turned 30 2 years ago. But it was the realization of like, okay, well, what do I want to actually do? Because I grinded through my whole 20s, like I'm an introvert, so at least I don't feel like I missed out on too much, but there's a lot of just like I just worked a lot.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have done anything else though. I love work. I love doing what I do. So,
Yeah.
but now that I'm moving towards like I'm actually going to do sports now. Like I'm going to the
Oh, nice.
gym and like eating better and trying to figure out like I've never done skincare before. Like I'm
Right.
figuring out how skincare works and
Yeah.
I'm like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know what this is, but I'll figure it out. And I want to see about trying to balance my life a bit better
Uh-huh.
so that I don't feel like my entire career is who I am
Uh-huh.
because I think everybody struggles with that, especially when they're passionate about their career.
Yeah.
So,
I'm I'm
um,
uh, I'm a huge believer that we are meant to reinvent ourselves quite regularly. Like you can, it only takes a certain number of years to become essentially a master in the thing that you're doing. If you're passionate about it and you're actively trying to practice, because people say practice makes perfect. No, practice makes permanent. Unless you're actively thinking about bettering yourself during practice, then you're not actually improving. But if you are doing that, it only takes a few years of doing it before you are incredible at the thing. And there's a diminishing returns of like it takes very little effort to get much better than beginner, and then the longer you practice a thing, the more effort it takes to make this amount of improvement in it. And so there's littler and littler difference between people who are fantastic and people who are masters. And once it doesn't take that long to get to a point where you're fantastic at a thing, and it's perfectly fine to at that point go, cool, I've done that. I'm gonna try pottery now. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna become a microbiologist. I'm gonna do something else. I've got this other passion that I'm done. I'm not obligated to be this one thing that people want me to be for the rest. So you come to the end of Fool's Gold and decide you're going to completely shift into becoming a circus performer. That's your choice to make, and you do whatever you want and
yeah,
whatever makes you happy, and you focus on it. And that's the only way to live
yeah,
a truly happy life, is to constantly live day to day as what is making me happy.
yes, absolutely. And yeah, my my shift for myself, like I'm not gonna be doing a long animated series after this. It's just there's nothing that makes me want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no story
Mm-hmm.
that I want to tell. The only story I want to tell right now is the Sands campaign, and that's me editing and adding music and podcast stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of it, I want to animate scenes from it. So, take like the animated shorts, or
Yeah.
maybe I'll do a longer scene that's more emotional, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
there's something there for me to explore. But I know that this year is going to be a lot of like experimentation, trying to figure out
Mm-hmm.
where I fit. I know one of the things I struggle with is just trying to figure out where I fit in like the industry, and not the D&D industry. I'm talking about like media,
Mm-hmm.
shows, and like Hollywood and stuff. And I just don't know where I fit because it always keeps pointing me towards director.
Right.
Like somebody who directs creative people to create something big and beautiful. But I feel that I don't have that passion for it as hard as I want it,
Mm-hmm.
where I have a hard time directing people because I'm fighting against my brain being like creativity, allow them to make the thing that they want to, but I also should be trying to make sure it's following a guide and my vision as well, and trying to
Yeah.
value my vision
Yeah.
over top of like, but I want this character to be blue, and it's like, but they're not blue. They're purple or something like that,
Yeah.
like I have to work with other people, and I've always been a person that loves to work by herself.
Hmm.
So it's it's a thing where I'm just trying to figure out where I fit. I don't know where I fit yet. So
Also, it's okay to discover where you fit through just doing it and seeing what the industry tells you fit
yeah,
into as well. Sometimes you just go, I
yeah,
don't know what, I don't know how to describe me. I don't know what my label is. It's up to somebody introducing me to some show to decide how to label me. I'll just do what I'm doing, and as long as it's kind of
see what
my take
happens.
on things is I go, as long the only number I care about is whether or not I'm able to pay my bills every week. Like I don't look at the numbers of my views. I don't look at anything on the algorithm of whether the analytics and stuff. It just doesn't interest me. And I know that
Me
I'm the
too.
sort of person where this way lies madness. Like I'd drive myself insane going, oh, why did this video not do as well as this one? Why did it? Was it the time that I put it out? Was it the length of it? Could I change this? Could I change the thumbnail? Could I change it? I know that I'd drive myself insane trying to account for variables that you're just never going to in an algorithm that isn't very explicitly told to the creators. We are at the whims of the platform's terms and conditions when the platform itself has in its terms and conditions that they can change anything at any time. They can decide that they're just going to do a different policy entirely. They can push different channels. They can reduce the content that people are watching in this regard or that regard or whatever. And so I just don't bother. I just go, I'll just keep doing what I like. Doing what I like, my life has led me to finding a career where I can pay the bills doing something I love. So I'll just keep doing that and hopefully it works out. And if it doesn't, I'll go work at a supermarket. Oh well. I'll keep
Yeah.
if it ever becomes a point where I can't pay my bills doing storytelling anymore, then I'll pay my bills some other way and I'll keep storytelling in my pastimes in my meantime.
I'm the exact same. I'm exact same thought of just being like I've never paid attention to my algorithm stuff. I had to stop looking at any numbers like years ago.
Hmm.
Um, never paid attention to like ups and down thing that YouTube shows you. I never.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
I looked at it once, and then I was like, "This is gonna depress me, so I'm not gonna look at this."
Yeah.
Um, but
Real easy
I
way to end
actually
up
don't
comparing
know.
yourself to others as well. You go, oh, well,
Yeah,
my thing's on the trend down, but this other channel's on the trend up. Why is that?
yeah. So I'm not even looking. I don't know how many views the last Fool's Gold episode had. I just don't. I just don't look at it, and because I know my numbers have been up and down and all
Mm-hmm.
that shit. So I rather just pay attention to what I'm doing because it's easy to just fall off the boat and be like self doubt and
Mm-hmm.
I can't do this because nobody wants to see it. So why should I bother? That kind
Yeah.
of stuff. So um, but yeah, I think just following and figuring out where I land, it'll naturally happen. I don't know if you've ever read the book, The Creative Act. Have you ever read that?
No, but the title
By
sounds familiar.
You should definitely read it. It's my Bible. It's like my creative Bible. That if I'm ever really like I don't know what to do, and I'm praying to the universe, being like, "What's wrong with me?" I open up this book, and it's one of those things where the book isn't. You don't have to read it from front to back. It's in sections. You can just go
Right,
to any
right, right, right.
section, and it'll just tell you about these creative thoughts and ideas. And it's from the guy, I don't remember his name. Um, very He's a famous guy. He's the one that introduced hip hop to like the world, and
Eminem.
he owns like a yeah. But
Can you imagine
he's
if it was written by the
that
creator?
would yeah, no,
Rick
it's
Rubin,
definitely not. Yeah, Rick Rubin. Thank you.
creative act, a way
So
of
Rick
being.
Rubin,
Nice.
yeah, it's very good. I highly recommend you read it.
I'll
I think
definitely
you
check
would
it out.
really enjoy it.
I'll definitely check it
Yeah.
out. Thank you.
And it's just one of the books I go to when I'm lost. When I'm just
Right.
like, I don't know what to do here. I'm so confused with my own creative journey, whatever the fuck I'm going. And I just read through the book. And the book has a lot of really good, just lessons that, you know, we've heard before, but you read it and it just hits different. It
Right. Yeah.
feels different. And yeah, I highly recommend anybody who gets into creative who wants to get into creative work of any sort, read that book.
Yeah.
It's my Bible. So.
Awesome. Thank you for the recommendation. I'm hyper aware that we're coming up on time, which is ridiculous because it's absolutely flown by. But if people have questions for us, they can enter them if you use your channel point redemptions on this channel. If you're new to Twitch, basically wherever you're seeing that it's typing a message, just under that you'll see a little stack of copper pieces. You've been accruing those just by watching passively, so you just redeem 50 of them, and it sends it into an activity feed where they're not going to get missed that way. Because obviously during a short rest I'm spending a lot of time focused on my guest rather than the chat. But if you have questions for us, now's the time to ask them, because then we'll answer them in a moment as we're wrapping up. Just as we're finishing off then, long-term blue sky, far in the future ideas, what sort of things would you be loving to do? What would be your goal? You still love to get back to that idea of doing the fully animated production studio sort of thing, like Vox Machina sort of stuff?
Yeah.
Or has that moved away?
Yeah, I would love to work with that. It's really the question of, do we do it in-house or out-house? Like go get it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of independent studios that are popping up, Glitch and VisiPop or whatever her name is. So they're doing their own animated shows right now, and that's becoming quite popular on YouTube. So the thought of maybe making our own show with our own budget and choosing a studio to work with could be something, so we have more control. Because the problem is that when you have really big studios, like let's say Disney or Cartoon Network or any sort, they take a good chunk of just the ownership, and because they're really just trying to make money, just like everybody else. I get that. Which is totally understandable, but you lose some of your creative decisions because they don't think it'll make money, because they're looking at trends that are happening right then. Yeah. They're not looking at trends that you can create for the future. So
they're the ones who are looking at those analytics and going, oh, why did this video not do as well, and this one,
exactly.
And making microtransactions, trying to predict what people want, and very rarely getting it right, because as you say, it's preventing artists from creating a new thing that people go, oh, this is not what I've been wanting, but now I am. Sometimes they don't know what they want.
Yeah, exactly. And somebody who's doing, those analytics and stuff, they aren't going to be the one who's creating that. So, it's definitely blue sky thought. That would be something I'd want to pursue right now. I'm just trying to figure out the podcast world a bit with Sans, do some cool animations. I know in the next 5 years, Felix and I might want to start a family, so who knows about that. So yeah, there's a lot of things that come up that just don't know where things are going to go, but
keep pursuing the things you
see
like.
what grabs me.
See what happens.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy the convention scene, or is it something that you kind of feel you have to do?
I actually do enjoy it. I enjoy it quite a bit, but it's all about time and money, because it's like, how much does it cost to go there? Because I love going to conventions, first of all, to see other creative people like you and people that we love to say hello to, but also interacting with fans and doing all that stuff. But I'd love to do more conventions. It's all about, can I afford
whether
it?
Whether it's feasible, especially with the new house and everything else.
Yeah, and I get sick easy. Like, I have a shit immune system, so
terrible
cons are always just like, I have to be careful not to get too sick. So yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you again at some point, hopefully this year when I'm in Canada, over Canada ways. I mean, even if you don't end up coming to the Toronto Con, maybe I'll find a way to make the trip over to you, because I'd love to see you again. It's always been a great, just like a genuinely lovely time hanging out with you and Felix and Avery. Whenever we're at a con, you feel very real. Feels like the right word to use. I don't know if that's. It doesn't. like I enjoy. There's all sorts of people I enjoy hanging out with cons with that are like just con friends that are going like, oh, other creators. We've got this creative. We're definitely good creator friends. We hang out
Yeah.
when we're in the realm of doing something that's Dungeons and Dragons, a D&D party, or going to a con or something. And since meeting you guys, you've always felt like just such lovely, genuine, real people that I had like a genuine connection with, and I miss hanging out with you when I'm not traveling as much as I used to, sort of thing. So I look forward to the time when I can do so again.
Yeah, I mean, definitely if you do manage to come to BC, we'd love to have you because now that we have the house, it's like we do have a place for people
Hell
to
yeah.
stay, and we're really close to the beach, so you go to the beach. So
Nice. I'll come over
really
and
fun.
do some snowboarding or something.
Not in August.
Not in August, no, not in August. But
Yeah.
maybe I'd make a trip over in winter, because I've always got
Ooh.
to be aware of when I'm traveling because of the whole southern hemisphere, northern hemisphere season change. If I end up going anywhere in the middle of the year that's in the northern hemisphere, then I'm giving up a New Zealand summer for a British winter or whatever. And I go, oh man, I'm getting the word. I just came out of winter and I go back into winter, and
Yeah, that's
in
rough.
the yeah, it can be tough to give up the best time for the worst time sometimes. Let's ask some of the questions that have come in from the audience then. So Cinderfingers asked,
Yeah.
what was your favourite shop or house to world build? Interesting.
Oh,
Shop
interesting.
or house? That's yeah, interesting question.
House.
Have you got any like magic stores or anything that you've ever come up with, or like a weird like multi-level mansion that was a maze within it or anything?
Yeah, I've had bars, like inns and stuff that everything was upside down. Like the gravity of
Oh,
everything was
okay,
just
yeah.
upside down. So you had to deal with that as a space, and then they would create foods that would work well with like
Nice.
low gravity and stuff like that. So that was really fun to make. So I guess that would be my answer.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
What about you?
I made a wizard's tower once that I was really pleased with. That had every level of the tower was dedicated to a different school of magic. So there was like a necromancy floor, an enchantment floor, an illusion floor. That was quite fun. Cinderfingers also asks, who has been your most chaotic NPC?
Chaotic NPC. Oh, I had one in my campaign. Her name was Lonnie, and she was a drider, but she was like a very small little drider, and she would live in the vents in the area that they were staying in.
Hmm.
They stayed in this like underground bunker. Um, and she'd be up into the vents to come and see, and she was obsessed with one of the players characters. She was like, because the player's character was like a well-known fighter,
Right.
that had done like ring fights, had posters,
Right.
that kind of thing. She's like, sign my shirt, and she would just always just like, she's like comes back and she's like, I have your blood, like she'd always
you,
have,
you
I
created a
got some
creepy
of your
fan.
hair. Yeah, yeah, she's pretty chaotic, so yeah,
Love
it's
that.
really fun.
Yeah, I've got a whole council of archfey. They're always very chaotic and very fun to play with. There's one that's obsessed with all things human and mortal, and is just fascinated with the mortal realms being so boring because she's from the Feywild where everything's so exciting. And so one of the main characters was at a dinner with her one time, and at one point she just grabbed one of the knives from the table and just cut their arm, just with no prompting of anything, just because she was fascinated with the concept of bleeding and blood. And they were like, "What the fuck are you doing?" She was like, "Isn't it weird how you bleed?" And they're like, "That's not okay." Love
Red
chaotic fey
flag, red
creatures.
flag.
Yeah. Tia Madrid asks, "What's your favorite character to play?"
Mm, that's tough because I feel like it's a mood. It feels like it's the changing of
What?
seasons.
Yeah. What are
Because
some of your favorite
currently
characters to play?
yeah, I mean, I love the characters that have like chaotic elements too baked in them,
Mm,
like Sips with his wild magic is definitely one of my favorite elements of being like, what's gonna happen?
yeah.
Um, and
Especially
then
when his curse is up to
with
like 50%, so it's a real toss of a coin whether something happens as you expected it or
yeah,
not.
I love that stuff. And but currently, I guess it would be Rooster, which is the character I play in my Fool's Gold Sands campaign, because he has elements that are like, first of all, he's bubblegum fun, like he just high
Yeah.
energy, loves everyone. But on top of it, he has just weird stuff that you're just like, I don't know what's going on with this kid. And because he's a genie, so his wishes go
Yeah.
bad, and I love making those wishes, like, because I have like a list of every time,
Right.
so, like, what wishes it, and then what's the bad thing that happens. I love that stuff. I love
Okay, I
anything
love
that
that.
gets twisted and
Yeah.
weird. So
I
yeah.
do. I do find that you've made several characters that are just instantly a, a hook for people listening. You go, "Oh, this is a monkey person that's got a crocodile hand that's cursed him," and you've got so many questions immediately. You go, "Okay, what? What?" I think in the I think in your second video you hadn't addressed the fact that he was a monkey at all in the first video. You just showed him as a monkey in the animation, but you never mentioned anything about it. So in the second video you say something like, "Oh, by the way, no, he's not an ape folk or something, blah blah blah, like you guys have suggested. He's just a awakened monkey essentially," and that just raises more questions. Like he was a monkey? Okay, fuck. So he really
It's
was a
just a
monkey, and now he's
normal
an upright.
monkey.
Yeah, and then with Rooster just being like, "Oh, I'm a genie, but I have no lamp, and I don't know how to cast wishes, and I don't understand the concept of death." And like so many questions immediately. Especially when early on you just get smashed through a train by an actual genie who's like, "What the fuck are you doing in my terrain?" And you're like, "Oh, cool, a genie." And they're like, "Oh, this genie doesn't know of the concept of other genies. What? They don't. What? What is going on?" You just get immediately
Yeah,
hooked into your
yeah. What's
characters.
or like, what's a domain? Where I was like, what's a
Yeah.
domino?
What?
And it's like, it's a domain.
Why are you in my domain? I'm not playing dominoes. What? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Am I not allowed to be here? No, you should know this is a genie. Who taught you? I don't know. I just lost my lamp sometime in a bet.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Tia Madrid asks, "What's one of your proudest moments?" I guess either as well, not necessarily even in career wise. Just what's one of your proudest moments?
Ooh, proudest moments. God, like boiling down 32
Everything, right?
years just one moment.
I,
Uh,
as autistic, I always hate any sort of questions about what's your favorite or your proud, or like, because I think of them very literally, and I'm like, I can't compare everything, and I have to remind myself when somebody's asking what's your favorite, they mean just what's some of your most liked ones. Choose one of them. It's
yeah,
fine. It
what's
doesn't
the
have to be
thing?
compared to all of the
Yeah.
others.
Yeah, I think I guess it would be, I mean, whenever I finish something that's been for a long haul, like
Yeah.
I know when I finish Fool's Gold, that'll be a proud moment, but um I think finishing um the contract for Star Breeze Studio, because I hated it
Hmm.
all the way through.
And being able
I
to
was
look
just being
back and
like,
go, I achieved that. I
I
was
did
able
that.
to. I've tested my
I
own boundaries
did
of how
that.
much I can persevere, and I've achieved.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
agreed. So
I hope you feel immense pride after every episode that you put up, whether it's the finale or not. Like every episode is a real masterpiece of a lot of different skills, and I'm not just blowing smoke. It's genuinely you do incredible work.
thank you. I appreciate it.
Jay asks, if time and money aren't a factor, what classic story would you love to retell and animate?
Ooh, classic story. That's a tough one. Ooh, I mean, I did love Beowulf. Beowulf was, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's a reason why I really liked it. But what is that? There's like a classic ballad poem about hell.
Oh,
Can't remember what it's called though, 'cause
Paradise Lost or no?
Paradise Lost.
Yeah.
I really loved. I remember because that was another comic I actually made. I made another
Oh wow.
in school, Paradise Lost,
Was that
and
also
I remember
comedy
really,
comedy
really liking.
adaptation? Yeah, nice.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was Satan, and he was just like, he was a bumbling idiot, but he was. I like doing bumbling idiots,
Love it.
um, but it was really fun. So yeah, that or I think I would do Hamlet. I really do like Hamlet.
Hamlet's
So
a great story.
yeah,
I love Hamlet. I love the topics of Hamlet and how much it explores different concepts of just what it means to be alive and the people struggling with life and death and all sorts of other stuff. I think there's a lot of really
paranoia.
powerful, yeah, paranoia, real powerful stuff in Hamlet. I got the pleasure of playing Hamlet once, but it was in Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are Dead, so I was essentially like an extra in it as Hamlet, and it was great. It was a
Oh, that's fun.
really good fun play. Yeah, I think those would be fantastic. I'd love to see animations of Beowulf and Paradise Lost. Have you ever been interested in the Iliad and Homer's Odyssey or anything? The Greek
I haven't
classics?
read it.
No.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I think if I did, I would,
Mm.
and I'd because the thing is, my brain filters things through comedy, so
Right.
it would naturally take that shit and be like, that would be even
That'd be
funnier if
fun
he
if
did
this happened.
this. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Tina asks if you hadn't had access to the YouTube, what do you think you'd be doing?
Ooh. I probably would have gone into more comics, more into the comedy stuff.
Mm-hmm. You
But if I
still
had
had the
not,
option
let's
of
say,
the Electric Bunny stuff. Like that was still a possibility to
I could have still kept going
lean
with
into
it.
that.
Yeah, if I really wanted to. I only left because I was tired of it and I just
Yeah.
wanted to move on. So I could have done that more. Um, so yeah, and if I had to choose a career that's outside of art, I might have chosen like a baker. I would have gotten into like
Nice.
baking and stuff.
Nice. Love that. Fallen Shadow says, "How long do you think you'll be animating for?"
Uh, well, I mean, if they're talking about the current episode that I'm working on right now, I'm hoping to have it out before the end of February. That's my goal.
Nice.
And but as for animation in general, that's like asking how long are you gonna eat? Like it's just
Right? It's,
till
you're
I
always
die,
going to
I
be doing it.
guess.
You're always going
Like
to be doing it until you
yeah,
no longer find the joy in it.
yeah,
I'm very aware of how much a person can change over a few years, having been through just drastic change myself in the last three, and so I never like to put stuff on Future Rob. I'm like, I don't know. I can't say for sure that Future Rob will find a passion in D&D and storytelling. Maybe something happens that drastically changes my opinion on it. I very much doubt it because of how much I love it and how much I feel like I'm destined for it. And everything has led me to this moment of doing what I do. I imagine I'll be doing it forever in some capacity or another, but who knows what changes? Who knows if I suddenly decide, nah, I'm going to hard heel turn into something completely different and that'll be okay.
yeah.
Silverdine asks, Dingo, have you finished Sands, or are you set? Are you still playing the campaign?
Oh, okay. No, we're still playing. Yeah, but we're getting to the end of it, so
How far
quite a
behind
big
the
gap.
campaign is the podcast? Is it
Yeah, so
pretty close?
yeah, funny. We just answered this yesterday during a Patreon, but um, actually, the episode that just came up, so episode 49,
49, I think.
we
Yeah.
recorded. Yeah, we recorded October 14th, 2024.
Oh wow.
So yeah, there's quite a big gap, which I actually appreciate because then I don't get
Yeah.
influenced by any
Yes. Yeah.
fans
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
decisions. So yeah, everything is organic the way it needs to be. So yeah, yeah.
Nice.
But people can't be like, oh, okay, so then that's how many. No, no, no. Because sometimes we don't play for months because of Felix
Right.
has been gone
Yeah.
so often. So yeah, it's hard to gauge exactly how many episodes it'll be, but yeah, we'll see.
It was sometimes beneficial to have the audience's input between table sessions for Viva, but I'm glad it wasn't like the week before we filmed. It was always a buffer. We'd filmed a table session or two, or maybe even three, and then the videos would start coming out half an hour at a time, and then we'd be filming the next one. And it was sometimes useful because I would get the opportunity to go, oh, they really missed that. Like, nobody's picked up on this. No, not even in the comments has anybody picked up on that. I was too subtle with that. I guess I'll bring it back. Or somebody will say in the comments some theory, and I'll just get the little subtle enjoyment to myself of like, they nailed it, but they're not going to realize they've nailed it for another 2 years now. It's going to be a while before they finally get the validation. And those things are important. Let's see. Foxy asks, is there going to be a module for sand, like there was for Fool's Gold?
Yes. Yeah, there will be. We're slowly, on our Patreon, we're slowly releasing content for people to play test. So eventually we can put it all into a module. So, hey, if you want to do that, you can go to foolsgold.fun/Patreon.
Hell yeah.
Test out that stuff for yourself.
And you can play test them. Nice. Renarian asks, how many rounds was this short rest? Well, it has to use your brain. No, Renarian, I'm not doing maths on this. Basically, how many rounds in a minute is 10, and then obviously you get how many minutes in 2 hours? 120, so 1,200. I said I was not going to do the maths, and then I did because I realised it was going to be... I'm reading Sherlock Holmes at the moment. I've been sent some Sherlock Holmes escape books, which are like choose your own adventures, but you have to solve puzzles to move to the next page. And there's a point in one of them that says Sherlock was presented a puzzle, and knowing that it had no bearing on the next on getting out of this situation that he'd been locked into by Moriarty, he unfortunately had a brain where he couldn't turn it off and needed to finish the problem regardless. And I was like, right, yeah, I'm kind of the same. I get the maths and I go, oh, okay, well done. You've thrown rice in front of the vampire or whatever it is where they can't help but stop and count them. Well done, you bastard. Fallen Shadow says, who's your favourite Felix-made NPC?
That's tough, but I guess I'm going to be biased, and I'm going to say Vicky from the Fool's Gold animated series.
Right.
It's still one of my favorite NPCs. I love the energy. It's just so cartoony and fun.
I'm real partial to Mr. Wizardly, or Mrs. Wizardly, as the case. I love the idea
Back and forth.
I love the idea of the... I'm powerful enough to solve all of the problems you're facing, and I don't have a reason not to, other than I don't want to, because it can come up. It can come up a lot when you end up falling into the trap as a DM, trying to world build and going, there would be powerful people in the world. Obviously, like the head of a guild, of a wizard's guild, is going to be a very powerful wizard. I need to come up with some reason why they're too busy to deal with this thing, so that these adventurers do it themselves rather than go. So maybe there's other shit happening in the world. So to answer that problem with. Yeah, they don't want to. They're too powerful to give a shit about whatever you're doing. I need you to take this heart into that volcano. Like, why? Because I don't want to do it.
Because I don't want to get up.
Slinky asks, I really love how intricate but fun your characters are. What's your character creation process like? That's a really good question. When you were coming up with Sips and also with Rooster, like what were you thinking there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have one approach. It kind of depends on whatever the time it works out, because both characters were made completely different. So Sips was made because Felix said, hey, I want to do a jungle setting. And I was like, okay, what lives in a jungle?
I'm a monkey.
So I'm going to be a monkey. Because I don't see people play a monkey, so I'm going to play a monkey. And then
man, I love that just as easily Sips could have been a toucan.
Absolutely. I played a toucan in the other campaign I was playing at the time. So, yeah. So it was really just like, what have I not seen before? What would be interesting for me? But also the crocodile hand and everything, that came from a suggestion from Avery, where she said, because I had to think, why the fuck is he traveling? Like, what is he doing?
Yeah, right,
he's just a monkey. What has he got? So, and so she was like, well, why don't you have it that he's like looking for his hand, like the monkey's paw?
Nice.
And it was like, okay. And then my friend Puddle suggested, well, why don't we make it like, instead of him having a monkey paw, it's like a different hand that's been grappled on. So we started to run through a bunch of different animals. Like, he could have had a chicken hand. I remember one of the suggestions was a chicken hand.
So like a chicken foot or like a wing?
Yeah, like a chicken foot. No,
chicken foot for a hand.
So it was
oh,
just
man.
like a weird... Yeah, so we decided with the crocodile hand, and he actually started out as a monk just because of the pun. It was just monkey monk, and then, um, and he was based off of Zenyatta from Overwatch, where he had the evil energy and the good energy, which
Right.
I cut the good energy out of the story. He technically has healing, but he never fucking used it because he doesn't like people. So I
Wow.
just never
Oh my
used it.
god,
The
what a
only person I
reveal.
used it on was
You should,
me.
man, fuck, you should put that in the final, the wrap up episode after the finale. You should just say, just offhand, like right at the very end, just be like, oh, by the way, he also had good energy the whole time and could heal, but didn't, it's a whole other thing. And then
He could heal
just,
people. Yeah. Yeah. And the
people
thing
will lose
about
their
it is,
mind.
like, as we played, it's funny because it's like it made no sense. There was no reason for it other than I wanted it as a mechanic. And then Felix didn't come up with a reason for it at the end of the campaign, so we were just like, "Fuck it, I'm cutting it up." And that uh,
I've got
he
a
didn't
friend
become a
who
wild.
there's a running joke that he doesn't know what guidance is, even though he's got it. He's like, what? Could have been using it the whole time, just never knows that he can cast it.
Yeah, never mind. And then so anyway, he was supposed to be a monk, and then I think I actually played a couple arcs with him being a monk until eventually I was like, I don't like this. I played a monk in the previous campaign. I'm kind of getting bored. So I'm going to change him to a sorcerer. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool if we could implement like some wild magic into it? So that's literally all that was. It's just playing. I figure out my character as I play. I don't typically figure it out at the beginning. I don't have a big backstory for them at the beginning. Rooster was different, where he actually was created through a dice like design thing, where there was this person I followed on Twitter where they would constantly post pictures of dice with different colors, like white dice with pink dice and gold dice, and they would be make a character out of that. So I drew Rooster as that color combination, and I was like, this guy looks really cool, I like him. And then I kept thinking, like, I want to play this guy, and I don't know who he is. And I just kept staring at him. I remember one night being like, what the fuck's your name? And he had that stupid hair. So I was like, all right, it's Rooster. And then from there on out, I was obsessed with playing this character. I had made him before I posted Fool's Gold Animated. It was like 2-3 months.
Holy shit.
Before I posted. Yeah, I made Rooster in January of 2018. I posted in April of 18. So, yeah, I made Rooster a very long time ago. And then I kind of left him for a bit, obviously. But I knew I wanted to play him in a podcast. That was my, like, I'm not going to play this kid until podcast, because I feel like he's going to be fun to play. And I want to know what exactly was up with him. And I actually didn't make that his wishes were bad until I played him and I did 2 sessions with him. Mm-hmm. So I guess in episode 3 or 4, I had decided that his wishes were bad. Wow. And I didn't decide his like death thing until after Nira threw him through the train, because I had that question of being like, what's more important, the boat or the people? And I actually had to think about it. And then my brain went, I don't think he actually believes in death. Because I've made jokes about it in the previous sessions. Yeah. But they were just jokes. They were just like, whatever. And then eventually I was like, I think he actually believes in that. Because I needed a character that could understand, or not understand, the opposite. Just don't understand death, so that I could be with a demon. Because I know the demon's going to kill people. Yeah. So I don't want to have to mourn the loss of every single goddamn NPC that dies. So I'm going to have him be rose-tinted glasses. Yeah. So I can just play a happy-go-lucky guy. And then, of course, it escalates into something else.
I adore the fact that when that comes up, finally, like, explicitly, that you say, people don't die, they come back after a bit. It forces the other characters to go, wait, maybe Dingo's saying something that is now actually true about the world, and it's my character that doesn't understand the world. I have to go to Felix as the DM and be like, is that how it works? I'll go and talk to some NPCs. You stay there and go off and talk to a bunch of dwarves and be like, hey, do people die? And they're like, yeah, what are you talking about? And they're like, They do, and they stay dead. Yeah, obviously. What are you talking about? Yeah, no, okay. I thought, what the fuck? It was so bizarre and so confidently stated from your character that it made them go, "Is that the world building? Have I missed that this whole time? I need to confirm it in game with these other characters?" And to have something
And
that's
I like
such a
how Felix
fundamentally
leans into
bizarre,
it.
but yeah. So, and he like tries to hide it at some points to be like, it could still be the case. You don't know. Like, so why are you? And then something else more important happens, and you go, oh, we'll shelve that for a second. I'll come back to that. You think people don't die? What do you? There's so many questions. What do you mean? What do you think happens? What? Do people? Does that mean that people always come back around you? Like, do you end up resurrecting people without meaning to? And there's so many questions from the NPCs and things, and the other PCs as well. It's fantastic. I think what you were saying though about how the collaboration came into creating what Sips would become. You wanted to be a monkey. Somebody said, maybe you're searching for a hand. Somebody else said, maybe it's a crocodile. I think that's one of the things I try to push as much as possible. When you're creating a character for a game, especially if you're going to be a one-shot or something, having the character creation session happen communally is a fantastic vibe, because you can really contribute to making a party that feels like they're together for a reason as well. Like, you can say, I'm going to be a monkey, and somebody else goes, I'm going to have a maybe you have a cursed crocodile hand, and that sparks somebody else to go, oh, that's cool. What if my character, I was already thinking of being a ranger or something. What instead of having a lizard familiar, I have a crocodile familiar, and then there's always like a tension there. Maybe the crocodile's lost a hand, and you end up
Yeah.
snowballing and collaborating and coming up with characters that fit together well, and you're less likely to have people turn up and go, I'm a broody edgelord, and then somebody else go, oh, I'm also a broody edgelord. Oh, I was feeling like playing the broody edgelord in this campaign, but maybe I'll pivot, and allowing yourself to
We're all edgelords
discover
now.
discover what the character is through playing as well is important. To have enough backstory to know who you're playing in the first episode, to have enough idea of who they are, and then to allow plenty of room for you to discover who they are a little more as you play. You think going into it that you've essentially just designed Batman, and I'm going to be playing Batman, and then you go into it and you're like, oh, actually, I'm feeling like he's more this or he's more that. Change it up. Slinky asks, we'll just say these, we'll cut these off as the last questions because I don't want to have to keep you all day. Slinky asks, I really love how intricate but fun your character. Oh, that was the one we just answered. How's your character creation? Silverdine asks, how's the one episode per week for Sands going? Are you hoping to start them once ITBW is finished? Into the Bellowing Wilds is finished.
Yeah, like that's pretty much my goal, is that as soon as I'm done animating, I can actually put my time and effort to finishing doing one episode of Sans every week. That would be my ideal. And I think I need a bit of like, give me like a month after, because I'm actually planning that as soon as I'm done the finale, I want to take a bit of. Well, actually, I'm going to Japan for 2 weeks after.
Hell
So
yeah.
I'm just like going there for 2 weeks, and then after that I'm gonna do 2 weeks of like grind and buffer for some Sans, and then I'm gonna take all of April off. Like, I don't even want to think about the internet. Like, I don't like I'm gonna have a hammer, and I'm gonna have some nails, and I'm gonna go into my basement, and I'm gonna just start like renovating the crap out of it, because that's all I want to do. So I'm just gonna not even think about that stuff. So if you give me some time, my goal, I think we've said, is we would love to do it in like May or June is when we actually can do it every week. That would be ideal. But we also have to talk to our editor about stuff. But yeah, that's the plan.
That's the plan. Plans can change. It's okay when they do. All right, last question from Fallen Shadow then is, do you have any tips for first-time D&D players? I've recently started, and I'd love to hear any tips.
Ooh, tips. Okay. Well, I guess the conversation at the very beginning, it's okay if you hate it. At the beginning.
So the takeaway is, if you hate D&D, you have to stick with it for at least 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years at least. No, but I mean, my suggestion was pretty much what I was talking about, where I would, one, just kind of have fun with it, play around. This is about just figuring out the mechanics for yourself. That really you're just trying to find a dice roll to the action you want to do. Like, you don't need to think about the huge mechanics behind it. Just try to figure out, like, oh, I want to jump. It's like, okay, acrobatics. That's it. So you want to just simplify it for yourself. If you really want to learn and gain a bit more footing, I would suggest doing the one-on-one DMing. So find somebody you really trust, and then you don't have to do a campaign, just do like a one shot kind of
Hmm.
thing where maybe you do like 3 sessions and just learn how it goes, because the more you learn how the mechanics work, the more confident you can be, like, I'm going to do this thing, and you know how it works, meaning that you're not going to be like, I don't know if I can do this, I don't know if
Yeah.
this is appropriate. um, and then of course when you play with a group, you feel out where the limits are for things, the jokes, the way you want to play a
Yeah.
character, how does the characters work with each other. So it'll grow, it'll build, and eventually you guys will figure out your dynamics. So
Yeah.
that's my
Great tips.
my tip.
I'll also plug my own series, Hey Rob, which is a series of sometimes short, sometimes a little longer videos on my YouTube. There's a whole playlist for them, and it's literally D&D tips and tricks. Whenever I'm in a stream and somebody comes in and asks me a question, and I take a moment to take a sidebar and answer them, it quite often ends up getting cut into a short that stands alone, and it's advice, tips, and tricks. So go and watch that series, and you'll probably answer a bunch of your questions. But the fundamental tips for either playing or DMing is communication. All comes down to communication. Make sure you are communicating openly and honestly with your party, with your DM, with your players about the sort of games you're enjoying. Anything that happens in game that you didn't like or that you felt uncomfortable with, make sure you raise that immediately. Don't be afraid to bring up if your players are acting a little unruly or feeling disrespectful about your story. Just like address that with them politely and say, like, don't let things fester. Um, just enjoy yourselves. Make sure you remember that you're in it to tell a fun story together and have fun with your friends. So that's ultimately the goal at the end of the day. Make sure everybody's having fun, and the rules come second to having fun. If they get in the way, get rid of them. I will ask my own final question. What did the sheep do to deserve it? Is that something that is addressed at any point? Is that going to be a wrap up thing? Because the sheep came up a few times early days, and I don't recall you
Yeah,
addressing it in the
I mean,
series, unless I've forgotten.
no, because it just doesn't fucking fit. It's like
Right?
random. But the so the module does tell you the mechanics of how the sheep work. And
Okay.
just learning from the mechanics of the sheep, you can kind of understand why the fuck they had to die. But I mean, I can give you a little bit of a short of it, and I
Give
have
me it.
talked about it in other Q&As before. But essentially, it's like the sheep have the fleece, like the ability that if you touch their fleece, they can put you into a hallucinogenic state. So you start to hallucinate. They're literally acid sheep.
Yeah, tripping sheep.
So, yeah, tripping sheep. And then you start to see things. I think we saw a bear, and then um, Gothy got knocked out because Gorthan thought she was a bear, and then Jawbone went ballistic and almost killed us all. So it was
Wow.
it was a lot, and we had to kill the sheep because it was just like these. Also, because it was part of the quest, you had to get the
I had to get
the
the fleece.
wool or whatever. So it was definitely just like, these sheep have to die because we're all gonna go bonkers if we keep having these sheep around us.
I'm
So
I'm desperately trying to
yeah.
come up with some pun on LSD, lanolin, shearing. I'm sure there's something. Acid, sheep, bar,
Something.
dropping barrels. Close enough. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us, Dingo. We'll leave it there. Where can people find you? Where would you like to send them to your work? Where do you want people to follow you?
Yeah. So yeah, if you want to check out our many projects such as a podcast, our module, our graphic novel, you can go to foolsgold.fun. If you want to check out the animation side, you can go to Dingo Doodles on YouTube, and then you can pretty much follow me on all socials with @DingoDoodles. So, and I got lots of fun art. There's lots of stuff that we constantly produce. We have a Patreon where you can play test some of the things we love to make. So, yeah, there's lots of little goodies everywhere. So, have fun with it.
Nice. And I have been in a few of Felix's games, thankfully, and know that the things that are homebrewed are often incredibly enjoyable to play as well. So I'm sure that the Patreon's filled with a lot of very fun stuff, a lot of interesting mechanics. So, yeah, thank you very much for joining me. If you're here from Dingo's community, this is your first time seeing me, I'm Robert Hartley, GM. You can find me all over the internet at Robert Hartley, GM. I'm most known for being the DM for a comedy group called Viva la Dirt League, so you can check out their series as well. In the meantime, is there anybody on Twitch that you'd like to raid? Do you know anybody that streams that is online? I always like to give the option to my guest, but if you don't know anybody, I can choose.
Yeah, I have no idea. I'm not in the Twitch area. So.
There you go. Then we'll raid into
we'll
raid into a DM friend of mine, the Mandy, who is currently doing some art. So appropriate. It's both DM and art. We'll raid into the Mandy, and then we will wrap up the short rest. So as we come into the end of the short rest, we've finished fishing up. We've caught something. Or do you reckon we have caught something? Let me roll to see how I've done.
Yeah, see how
I got a 9, and maybe something that we might be going a little bit hungry. Yeah, it's like a small thing. I thought about throwing it back, and we're like, I'm too hungry to throw this back. This'll do. What are we? What are we moving on to? Just moving on to another town, trying to find somewhere that's cheaper.
Yeah, I think we'll have to. We'll sleep in our tents. Make sure to avoid any sort of park rangers that are going to charge us for staying the night.
Those are going to be the random encounters in the night rolled for just getting moved on. You can't sleep here. You got to go to the tavern for 20 gold a night.
Yeah. So, and then we'll move on to the next town and find something much cheaper. So.
Well, thank you very much for joining me, Dingo. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'll see you guys in the next stream. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.
If you found this interesting at all, make sure you're checking out my guest and all of their things. The links are in the description below. And while you're there, you might as well check out my stuff as well. Thanks.